evening, everyone. Highlights of the news. Traffic accident. Beaver County man is being held for murder. It's more later.
What's going on, y'all? You're tuning in to the highest rated, most listened to podcast to ever grace the airwaves, and you're a better person for listening to us. All right, maybe not, but you're really going to enjoy it anyways. This is Made to Motivate Podcast, and we'll be talking social media hot topics, pop culture news, the greatest in movies and music, and all things sports. Make sure you're following us on social media at Made to Motivate Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and you can watch the show on our YouTube. Thanks for tuning in, and with that being said, let's get this show started. Showtime, folks.
That was a bad idea.
Yeah, dude, you pounded that fucking thing. Good Lord. Chris has got no chill. This is Made to Motivate Podcast. Welcome all. Season 4, episode 13, lucky number 13.
Uh-oh.
Thanks for tuning in with us. This is your host, Ryan Weiss. I'm joined, as always, by Unk from Sports Illustrated.
What's going on?
Good over there? You got Pokemon turned off?
No, I got messages scrolling
this
in.
guy.
It's from our fans.
Oh, okay. That's cool. We got fans.
That's good to know.
Christopher, the film freak, Kessinger. What is going on, sir?
It's a hottie right there. Yeah, you. Yeah.
You good-looking son of a bitch. I like that hat.
Thanks, man.
Sweet.
My Blockbuster package came in this week, so it's pretty happy.
I got to show you guys this meme.
Oh, geez.
Steph just sent me. It's Anakin sitting there with Avril Lavigne, and it says he was a Padawan, she was a Sadawan.
Oh, Jesus.
That's fantastic. I love it.
Oh, Avril.
Avril Lavigne, man.
Mrs. Chad Kroger for a while.
She disappeared.
Yeah, that's
She's
why.
like still a thing? Because some 41, right?
Nick. You're right, actually. They were together, and then she married the Nickelback lead singer.
No, she did not.
Yeah, that was the big thing for a while, because he was her producer.
What?
Mhm.
How did he produce her music? Hers wasn't half as awful as his.
Yeah, that's true.
Wait, they were married?
Yeah. Yeah, they had divorced, I think,
soul.
2 years ago.
Good for her. She couldn't take all the heat that they got.
No
Or
shit.
the hate that they got.
No shit.
I never understood that.
They're awful.
I don't like them, but like, are they worth
Yes.
hating them to that level?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're bad.
Their music is so simplistic. Like it's the same 3 chords over and over again. Their lyrics are elementary.
Yeah, I think it just blew up as like it was trendy to make fun of them, but rightfully so. 'Cause They're
Yeah.
awful.
Yeah.
I mean, they're definitely nothing to.
I mean, they're not on my iPod or anything, but
God, no. What is new exciting since last week? Anything new in the world of Jesse Young?
no. I had spring break. It was a really bad week for us, actually.
Mhm.
My wife's grandma passed away. She wasn't like in the best spot, but we didn't expect for it to happen anytime soon. So we've been dealing with that, just kind of going through all the grieving process and everything. I was not productive during my spring break before that either. Like I really wanted to be. I was like, I'm gonna get some shit done. I'm gonna clean up around the house, get some spring cleaning
7
going.
days later.
I didn't do shit.
Yeah. What did you plan on doing? Did you have like a list of chores, housework?
I just wanted to get like everything. Like our house isn't like super dirty right now or anything, but like I just wanted to get on top of some stuff. Like really get to like deep cleaning it, like dust the whole house. I really wanted to get Steph's room cleaned out because she's got like all her clothes and everything in our guest room because we don't need a use for it, and we wanted to start converting it. That didn't happen. So
Whoops.
yeah.
Yeah,
But,
you got how many months? I mean,
yeah, I've got plenty of time. Fuck it, I got a whole summer.
I was gonna say, this
so that's
doesn't have
my
to work
thing.
for
I don't
3
gotta work.
months. Got
Yeah, I don't
plenty
gotta
of
work all summer. So,
Fuck.
but yeah, other than that, not much is
Not much is new.
not much is new. Testing starts soon at the school.
Yeah. That's it.
That's it.
Well, condolences to Steph's family. We told you that already, but that's sad and tough. So, Christopher,
man, I'm psyched for a bunch of reasons.
you
First
got
of
a super cool hat.
first of all, I mean, this kick-ass hat,
Bring
which
your hat.
came with 3 other kick-ass shirts, on top of 5 stickers and a kick-ass pair of socks. So yeah, Blockbuster was really cool. I actually got a note from, if you've seen the last Blockbuster, the documentary on Netflix, Sandy, the owner, she writes like a personalized note to everybody who purchases through their
That's
site.
dope. So this stuff comes from like their store.
Yeah, like she makes the socks, and she makes a beanie that I did not get. I want to get, but yeah, she makes like actually stitches them.
So question, they're the last freestanding Blockbuster.
Mhm.
What is Blockbuster as far as a company still?
The way it was explained in the documentary is they're kind of they're obviously an independently owned Blockbuster, so they're kind of on their own. There basically is no company.
So like
she
the
can
merchant
use the
stuff,
name.
she can do whatever she wants.
Yeah,
She can
because
make whatever
it's
she
still a
wants.
Blockbuster, like, as far as copyrights go.
Yeah.
But I don't think there is no higher corporation. I mean, it's pretty much just her.
Yeah.
You could argue that she's the owner of Blockbuster, period, because there's only one store.
That's wild. I didn't know if they held other businesses outside of the retail rental locations.
Mm-hmm.
If there was like another company, or if she's the last one. Is she it? Like, is that the end of it?
I mean, they do
Wild.
sell clothing, because I got another Blockbuster shirt about 2 years ago that I got at Target. So somebody's making those.
Is there like a blockbuster.com still? Is that a thing?
No, theirs is a website. Like, it's Bend Blockbuster, I think, because Bend, Oregon.
Wow.
So yeah, that's the only one that I know of.
Interesting.
But yeah, just excited. First of all, the mini golf league starts this Saturday. Pumped about that. Getting things going. It's all fitting into place pretty well. All the places are opening, and yeah, going to be interesting. Besides that, I found a movie that I've been looking for on DVD for a year and a half now. Finally bought it from a private seller on eBay. It's called The Breakup Artist, starring Robert Downey Jr. and Molly Ringwald.
Okay.
It's one of those 80s romance films that does not look good through contemporary goggles. There's so many things about it that are like, you'd watch it now and you'd go, yeah, that wouldn't be made in 2021, but I enjoy it. It's a cute little film, and young Robert Downey Jr. is so funny.
That's wild.
Yeah, that's it.
I pulled up Blockbuster, and it looks like they're owned by Dish Network.
Oh,
there's a blockbuster.com, and it says looking for new releases, blockbuster.com, where the magic of Blockbuster videos lives on with Dish. And this is Blockbuster LLC 2021.
They did say that during the documentary.
Oh shit.
So I guess, but that's my thing. It's got to be some kind of subsidiary.
It's like
entity.
a channel that they have or something, though, because they did bring that up on the documentary.
Okay. I haven't watched that yet.
They just I guess they just buy the name then, basically. Like,
it's just a ploy to get you to look
for
at their
nostalgia.
streaming service.
They're just banking off the name.
Gotcha.
But speaking of movies, we bought a bunch of them. I went and took up finally sold my dad's records that I did not want. Not all of them. Dude, you weren't gonna listen to them. They were like
Jim Neighbors.
They were like old ass like jazz shit you've never heard of, unless you want like a Rick James album. Like,
it's Rick James, bitch.
Yeah, Rick James put money in my pocket. I got $93 for these records that I would never listen to. I kept a bunch of good ones.
Yeah.
But up at the exchange, because I always like to do the in-store credit because I'm going to buy there anyways.
Which means that those records were worth about $327.
No, I looked online ahead of time.
Absolutely.
And I wanted to see how much it would cost for me to sell them. And they were going for like $4. Like, people had them listed for like 10.
How many did you
But
turn in
none
that
of
you got
them-
$91?
Like 20? Jeez. I don't know. Yeah, whatever. But so I went and I got a couple of things. I got a Suspiria because I've been looking for like some Giallo films for a long time.
And
Great.
yeah,
So good.
Yeah.
And then they had all the Mission Impossibles there for like $16.
Dope.
All 6 in one pack. So
That's
I was like, I'm gonna get that.
-2. That's a great series.
Yeah, that's good.
So -2?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I was leaning into.
Yeah.
Dude, 2 is the most like 2000s mindless badass movie.
Definitely mindless.
It's so fun. Like, it's not good.
Wait, were you saying
But I don't think-
minus Mission Impossible 2 or minus 2 movies in the series?
No, minus Mission
Number
Impossible
2.
2. Like,
Okay.
I like the other 5.
See, I don't like 1 that much.
Every time I can understand that. 1 is where they're still very much hokey, like on the TV show.
It looks like a TV show.
Yeah.
I forgot how bad it looked.
the special effects are really bad.
Yeah, the final scene was cool. Like, the whole train scene is like pretty fucking dope, and that
Mhm.
was original and imaginative. But then we go to watch the second one because Steph's only seen like 1 of them or something.
Oh, wow.
So we're watching it through. Neither one of us really liked the first one that much. We get to the second one, and I'm like, so this one's done by John Woo. He's
Mhm.
like the Dove King. And I was like, it's
Yeah.
fucking dope. Whole bunch of slow-mo and all this awesomeness. So we get to the end, like with the whole bike chase and the beach fight and like all this other stuff when they collide in the air.
Yeah.
It's just, oh, it's so good. It's so good. It's fun, man.
That was where they almost turned into Fast and Furious. And I'm like, thank God they brought it back
Yeah.
a little bit.
Whenever she's like asking him to kill her, and then he's just throws the C4 at the wall, and he's like, I've still got 19 hours and 58 minutes to get the oh, what is it? What the fuck is it called? Whatever. He's like, to get the antidote into you, I'll get you by then. And then he shoots it, does a little skydive out. It's like, yeah, fuck yeah, Ethan Hunt, man.
He's got that Tom Cruise long hair for the summer.
Oh, it's so good. So good.
I like the movies. I like the video games. They were fun.
The video.
I didn't know
Oh,
they had a video game.
Video games were fun. I haven't watched the movies in a long time. I don't know if I've even seen all of them.
Oh,
The most
man.
recent ones.
So now I've been trying to think, which one is the third one? The third one is not
Philip
Philip.
Seymour Hoffman.
It is Philip Seymour Hoffman?
Best villain of the series.
I like that one.
Best villain death in the series.
Oh yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now I'm really excited because I thought that was 4 and I could not think of what 3 was.
3 is
So,
him and Carrie Russell is his kind of like side girl, and yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sweet.
Cool.
But yeah, it's been fun to work our way through those.
What's been going on with you, Ryan?
Not much. Easter. That was about it as far as anything I did since last show. Got together for Zombie Jesus Day with the family. Went out to lunch and hung out at my dad's house, and that was really it.
That is a hell of a den in that picture.
That's his that's their outdoor like enclosed back patio. It's
Mhm.
got like a real wood burning fireplace. It's got a full kitchen like grill and sink and stuff out. It's dope.
How have we never done a show there?
I've thought about wanting to do it again. It just comes down to the freaking moving the shit.
I'm
bringing
trying.
all the crap there.
I don't really care about
we need to
doing
go
a
a
show
mile.
there. I just want to go hang
mile.
out.
We
No, I'm trying to watch a fucking movie
We
there.
go for a movie.
I just want to knock on Miles' door and be like, Miles.
Yeah.
I forgot about
He's
that.
not there now. He's doing fucking deadlifts in a beach in Cancun or something.
I drove by on Sunday. There was no one. There was a pickup truck in the driveway, and that was it. It was quiet.
Did you
There
see
was
that video
no
of
one.
him?
No.
No, he's literally doing deadlifts on a beach in like Cancun. Like he's on this beach that's got a gym designed for like Bahama life or
Yeah.
wherever he's at, but it's like all the weights look
an
like
outdoor.
but like all the weights look like old like barrels, like
Yeah.
pirate barrels and stuff. And
That's
he's like
dope.
on a platform. It's all sand around him and he's just sitting there fucking working. Like
I don't-
imagine being on vacation
It's off season. I don't blame him.
and like Miles Garrett's just deadlifting while you're drinking Bahama Mamas.
Living the dream, man.
Sweet.
Yeah, outside of that, not much. Designed my tattoo. We got in tattoo conversation.
yeah.
We got to get Chris to get on board with that, with the sleeve.
I gotta go see yours first.
I messaged the guy that did this arm. He's like impossible to get into. So I was going to have somebody else do it. And I was like, before I commit, I'm going to message him and just see if he responds. And he finally responded to me today. And he was like, yeah, let me look at my calendar. So I'm hoping that I can get in with him because he would
Yeah.
crush it.
Now, for something like that, obviously it's going to take multiple appointments and like,
Lots.
so he has to clear more than one day, right?
Oh
He has
yeah,
to-
you do normally 2 weeks minimum in between appointments to let the skin heal on the irritation.
Mhm.
Something like that though, because there's so much space.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, you could go like 3-4 days in a row because the outlining is going to take so much.
Mhm.
But yeah, I would like to try and book multiple days with him just so I'm booked because he's impossible to get into.
How does that work with your sleeve and all that? Like, do they do the whole outline at once or do you go section by section
It
where
depends with him. So like when I did my movie sleeve, my arm, we started with Chewbacca and Hercules in one session, just outlining it. And then we went in and then like we added the other pieces in. So I know some artists will outline the whole thing at once. It just depends. That's
Yeah.
my leg, that's a big amount of work. So I can't imagine.
you have fat legs?
I got some big legs, thunder thighs. So I don't know if I would even be able to sit through that all at once. Like 4 hours is usually my max before I'm like, all right, I'm done.
Leg wouldn't hurt that bad though,
Your
would
shin,
it? Or-
It's not that
shin.
it's not necessarily the pain tolerance. Your body fights off, like the adrenaline fights off the pain and stuff for so long. And for me personally, at 4 hours, I can tell my body starts to exhaust.
yeah.
And that's where I get that, like when you've overdone it working outside or something, you get the cold sweats and you feel like you're gonna be sick.
Yeah.
4 hours, 4.5 hours is my max. And then I start to feel sick.
When I did my chest, I did 6 hours
In one
and-
sitting?
In one
It's too
sitting.
much.
I didn't realize like I'd never done like a big tattoo like that. So I didn't even think about like just saying like, hey, I need a break or anything. I was just like, okay, I'm just going to do this until the guy tells me like
Yep.
we should take a break. And all the other guys come in, they're like, hey man, you guys been going for a while. He's like, yeah, man, this guy's a trooper. He hasn't asked for a
Yeah.
break once. And I'm like, what the fuck you mean? I didn't know I was supposed to ask for a break.
Yeah. I don't ask for breaks myself, but the artists always take them because everyone I always go to, they always smoke.
He had a
So they'll
smoke
go out
break
and have
here
their
and there
smoke
and
breaks
stuff,
and-
but
Check their
That's
phone,
gotta be
but
so tough. I admire artists so much, like when it comes to that kind of thing.
awful for them. I mean, you got to think just the bending over and
Yeah.
it's not exciting.
where do you
so.
go? Who's your guy?
This is done by Chad Lenger. He's at Black Metal in Strongsville.
Okay.
But my Dwight Schrute tattoo is done by Skylar Ames, and that's who I was going to ask about doing my leg. And I would still, he's very good, but like, I just want the consistency of this one and my leg to be the same. So if I can get Chad to do it, it would be cool. But I don't know.
Similar art style.
Yeah, because it's the same kind of concept where it's going to be a mashup of movies. So I would just think it would look well. It would go well together, but we'll see.
That movie sleeve is nice. That's like always been my downfall with sleeves is like, you can't tell what's going on from afar, but that always has stood out. Like you can tell what's going on in that.
Yeah, it's pretty badass. I like the coloring too. It's subtle.
Yeah, he did. He's very talented, which is why it's impossible to get into him. But before we get started, got some belated birthday gifts.
Belated birthday gifts? You got me a birthday gift?
Because fucking Chris would not allow me to participate in paying for Jesse's birthday dinner. And one for Christopher.
Oh shit.
We went out to dinner for Jesse's birthday and Chris paid, and I'm like, I can't not get him a gift. So
Nice.
Oh man.
Dude, this is dope.
So I got some cool shirts.
Dude,
hopefully they fit. If not, I've got gift receipts or receipts.
2X is perfect.
I wasn't sure. I was like, man, I hope these are the right size.
Oh, that is beautiful. Thank you.
That shirt's dope. All of them are dope. I saw that Jason and I was like, I have to get this.
Oh, that is badass.
Yeah, these will fit.
Cool.
I will wear that tomorrow.
Sweet, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. That for not eating the hot wing that would have ruined my.
It doesn't, but that's okay.
Where are we starting? What are we excited about? Do we want to do fences during Hollywood Report?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where do you guys want to start?
I'll be the curtain.
You want to do curtain call today?
Yep.
Christopher.
Curtain jerker.
Curtain jerk. How was that again?
My God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm! Wait. Everybody calm down! Two teams assemble!
Still the best soundbite.
Yeah.
Christopher, the Film Freak Kessinger, Film Freak review page on Facebook, filmfreak.com on the interwebs. Check him out. The writer of movie reviews. What is new in the Hollywood world?
Well, I want to get started with a bittersweet note. This past week, we heard that famous rapper DMX's condition deteriorated. Obviously, his long-standing battle with drugs and overall just a very dark and depressing life finally has caught up with him. As of right now, DMX's condition is he is still on life support and is suffering great brain damage as we speak. The forecast, the doctors are saying it does not look good. It's basically been given one of those matter of time prognosis. But fans are showing up. You know, obviously the Rough Riders came by yesterday. They did a motorcycle tribute to him outside of his hospital room. Yeah, this is depressing for a lot of reasons. I don't know if you guys were big on DMX growing up.
Big time.
Yeah, DMX was legit. I was a big fan of his music.
DMX plays on my vehicles on Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Heck yeah.
Nice. So yeah, like when I was 13, growing up, like I wasn't big into rap music yet. I didn't get into and appreciate hip hop until I was like 16, 17 years old. But DMX was one of the first rappers that I started listening to. I loved how his As to our hip hop was always very kind of positive and always like what I've got and who I am kind of vibe. DMX's was always about the troubles and the tribulations of the hood, you know, that the streets where he came from. And I always appreciated that. He always was not afraid to dive deep and expose his vulnerability.
And I feel like his voice attributed very well to that because his stories were like that raw darkness and like his voice, he had that really dark, just raspy like grainy voice. Yeah. That was always one of the things I was a big fan of his style.
Yeah. But yeah, as of right now, like, unfortunately, the prognosis isn't looking too good for him. And this is one of those conditions where the longer you stay in a vegetative state, the more damage it does to your brain and overall just your bodily muscles in terms of, you know, memory, you know, how to walk, everyday basic functions. So even if he does come out of it, honestly, I think a best case scenario is probably paralyzation, unfortunately.
Yeah. It's sad and unfortunate. And like you said, it's not looking good. So we can only hope for the best, but don't foresee a positive outcome from it at this point. It's been almost a week.
Yeah, he's last Tuesday, so it has been over a week. Yeah. Do you guys have a favorite DMX song?
Man, I mean, the Rough Rider anthem is a classic, but
Shut them down. Open up shop.
Yeah, it's so good.
yeah,
I'm a Slippin' guy.
I think that's
Slippin'
it.
is so good.
Slippin's badass.
Slippin' is really good.
And when I first heard it, so I used to buy my albums from Walmart, and they would always heavily edit things and censor.
Yeah.
So like when I first heard it, I was like, damn, this is whack, man. There's all these like sound bites and everything on here. I'm like, he's not that great of a rapper. But then like I realized once I start hearing the unedited, that's I know. It's like all these hokey sound bites, but when you hear the uncut version of Slippin',
It's like the Kids Bop of DMX.
yeah,
Jeez.
that's what it sounds like though.
Yeah.
That song is so fitting for the current circumstance as well.
Yeah,
If you listen to
God.
the lyrics of that song and like what he talks about, it's sad, man.
And it's unfortunate that his story, it was one, from childhood abuse, traumas, his war with drugs, his war with crime, which sent him to prison for 8 years, that he basically never found his way out of it. Some stories are like that, unfortunately. Some don't have happy endings.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that he did like 8 or 10 years in prison.
Yeah.
That's
I didn't know
wild.
that
And then
either.
he just recently got out in like 19 or something.
Yeah.
For what? What did he do?
I believe it was paraphernalia. I can look
Wow.
on that. But he served 8 years, which basically stunted his hip hop career at a time when he was getting as big as he ever was. Same for like Mystical. If you've ever heard of Mystical too. What the fuck? What are you laughing about?
You just had like 3 or 4 height puns that were just thrown together. You were like, yeah, so it stunted his. I thought you were going to say height. You were like his career, but then he got so big and he's notoriously short, just for people at home.
That beer was a bad idea. But yeah, just DMX, keep him in your thoughts, keep him in your prayers. If you do that, definitely hoping for the best for Mr. Earl. So moving on a little bit, let's talk a little bit about Space Jam, the trailer starring LeBron James, Jesse's favorite player, dropped this week. Guys, first impressions, what are you thinking of this trailer?
Boy, it looks good. It looked so good.
Were you worried going in?
No, I wasn't worried going in at all. I've been anticipating this, and then I woke up to that trailer and I was like, God damn, this movie looks so good.
Mm-hmm.
It looks exciting. I think like the graphics and like the update
Very colorful.
coming from like the original Space Jam, which is what, 20 years old at this point or something.
Yeah, 95.
Man, I think it looks so fun. I'm really, really excited for it. I know it's gotten some hate, but I'm loving it. Jesse?
Yeah, my thing is like a lot of people are hating on the still shots from the trailer. Like we didn't really get a good look at the Goon Squad. You got one good look at Damian Lillard's character, and everybody else is flying by real quick, so it's blurry.
Yeah,
it's fuzzy, like whatever. I like it. I
it's
think
still on
that
production though, isn't it? It's not done.
it's probably close.
Yeah, I think
but
it's nearing post production too.
they'll polish it up and everything
Yeah.
a little bit more. But I liked the idea that they just took it in a whole different like realm. Like it's not necessarily. I'm not a huge fan of like the Don Cheadle, this is the internet type of thing.
Mhm.
But other than that, like I don't have a problem with the designs. I didn't want them to be the exact same thing. They
Right.
shouldn't all be the cartoon aliens. I like that it's kind of CGI cartoony,
Mhm.
but they also showed LeBron as a cartoon. Like I don't think that that's just going to be like a quick throwaway.
Yeah.
I think they're going to do different types of animation throughout this and go through it that way.
I think the animations represent the different teams, like in terms of, one's obviously the Warner Brothers family, so they're happy and vibrant and,
Yeah.
fluffy almost, but the other ones are probably dark and, like you said, computer generated.
And they're like robotic looking and
Yeah.
stuff. And like,
yeah.
I'm interested to see how they get their powers and stuff too, because they're all supposed to represent a certain player, obviously.
Yep.
And they do look like the players.
Yep.
Like the original aliens from the first one had
Right.
like similar characteristics, but they didn't really look like them. Like you
Except
can
Sean
look
Bradley.
like this one's got like the 80 brow. Yeah. But like I don't know. I think it looks dope.
I
It's gonna
like
be
it.
fun.
I think so. As a whole, summarizing it, I was more pleased than I was disappointed. And going into this trailer, I was like, I'm not looking forward to this movie. To me, like,
Really?
yeah, because to me, it's almost like I wish LeBron James would kind of keep doing what he's doing with movies, like kind of just do that train wreck, do those comedies, do those kind of films. I'm like, doing a Space Jam like this almost kind of ties you once again too much to that Michael name and that legacy and all that. And I'm like, I kind of wish he would just break free from that. But looking at the trailer, I will echo a lot of what Jesse and Ryan said. So like the colors are very vibrant. And, you know, I love that the art direction is a lot different from the first film. Obviously, if you took the whole plot out of this completely and you look at these as two different films, you would never believe one was a sequel to the other.
Right.
So the animation style is a lot more complex and it's a lot greater improved. The one problem that I had going in, like as I was watching the first 20, 30 seconds of the trailer, was I was like, LeBron's deliveries are really like kind of sloppy in this film. But then
a lot of people say that.
But then they turned him cartoon and I noticed it got a lot better. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that's cool then. I almost hope 95% of this movie, he's just animated. That would fix that, because I'm not saying he's a bad actor. He did great in Trainwreck, and he even did good in Smallfoot as an animated actor. But
I think we get from him that we get from it, this is LeBron and not an actor.
Yeah.
Like it's just him with who he is.
Mhm.
Like that's how I got the way, because I get what you're saying with the way the lines were read off. And it just felt like it was like it was LeBron. He wasn't trying to be someone.
Yeah.
He was just coming off as who he is.
Yeah.
And at the same thing, it could be a trailer too. It could be sloppily put together, you know, as far
Absolutely.
as the trailer goes.
Do we know, did he pitch this, or was it brought to him?
I'm sure he pitched it.
You think
This
so?
is a
He's got a
gold
production
mine.
company.
I mean,
No, I know that, but I'm saying this because like what you said, tying yourself to the LeBron Jordan thing. You know, did he go like, well, I want to make my own Space Jam? You know, like
I
I'm
bet that
better
was
than
the
Bron
extent of
type
it.
thing, or
like I bet that he grew up. I mean, we all know he idolized Jordan, and I do think that he believes that he surpassed him. I think that that's a part of it, but like, I think it was probably, hey, you know, Space Jam isn't a MJ movie. We could do one. I'd like to do one if we can. And then told them, hey, go make me a movie. So I don't think there was much insight as far as like creative stuff, but I'm sure he wanted to do this.
yeah, I didn't know if it was more so like it's Warner Brothers, right? I know
Yeah.
if Warner Brothers
Yeah.
approached him and said, hey, would you be interested in a
Yeah.
new Space Jam movie? And they used him because, well, he's the greatest.
Right.
Or if he was like, well, I want to make my own because I
Well,
want to.
Who could make another Space Jam other than LeBron?
Right, exactly.
Maybe Kobe could have at one point, but that even seems a little too close. You know, now the
Right.
time has passed.
Right.
We're in another realm.
It's definitely fitting for him. I was just kind of curious who like initiated the idea of doing it.
Yeah.
But the reason I was asking if it's done or not is because that trailer came out, and then I feel like it was a day or so later, I read an article that they were having Zendaya do Lola
Yeah,
Bunny.
Lola, yeah.
So like, was
Yeah.
she not already cast as that, or was it just like a delayed article?
Could have just been released that she's the voice.
Okay.
And you can always, so you can add her stuff in like post-production, because she's
Right.
just a voice. Like they're not going to show her in human form,
yeah,
obviously.
she's just gonna do voiceover.
So
or
they can
whatever.
always do her stuff like right now or the next 2 months or whatever.
Yeah. So I wasn't sure if that wasn't not precast or wasn't already known, but
That's a good
which is cool.
question.
I like that she's gonna do that.
They fucked up too because she's still sexy.
Yeah, I know,
dude.
right?
Lola's still sexy, man.
Yeah. I was saying both. Yeah, they're both, you know, Lola and
What did
Zendaya.
they do?
He's like,
got,
wait, who?
got my rabbit foot tapping over here.
Yeah, you do.
But yeah, I was pretty happy with the trailer, and I think you know, I love that they're doing HBO plus theater, so you can see it in either one.
Yeah,
I'll of course go see it in the theater just because that's the way I am.
because you're the film freak, bro.
But yeah, to me, I like everything. The only thing I'm a little worried about is they're a little too prone on some of these other non-Looney Tunes properties.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
So like Superman and a couple of other things that they threw
They
in
chose
there.
the ones that were all in fucking Ready Player One.
I was
Yeah.
that's what I was
Iron
about to say.
Giant
It's
and King
all-
Kong. Like
Yep.
my immediate response was, why the fuck are they doing all the
Mhm.
same exact things?
Mhm.
Like, but I do like the idea though that his son's missing, and it's kind of like the tunes have to help him this time instead of him having to save the tunes.
That is a good
They had to
dynamic.
change it up a little bit.
And you know, haters
Yeah.
are gonna be like, he still needed help to save his son. MJ saved them on his own.
Good lord, he had Muggsy Bogues and Patrick Ewing and whoever else.
Those guys weren't even good.
Whoever else those bums.
Ewing
were.
wasn't even one of them, was he?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was
Ewing
good.
and Barkley were the only two.
Yeah.
Ewing Bradley.
Muggsy-
You know Muggsy Bogues.
Muggsy was like
That was
fucking
my
4 feet
dude.
tall,
Yeah.
man.
I love the Charlotte Hornets.
Who's the
dude.
center?
Oh, dude.
Muggsy
You
Bogues
don't
was
even
the-
know.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
I do.
Lonzo, baby.
Lonzo Mourning.
Lonzo Mourning.
Who's the last one?
Yeah.
Who was the last player? There's 5 of them.
Hold on. Barkley, Muggsy, Sean Bradley, Ewing, and
Kemp.
No.
No, Ewing.
I already said Ewing.
You said Ewing.
It's a
Jordan?
shooter. It's a
Yeah. It wasn't Reggie.
shit.
I don't know.
See, we don't even
Yes.
remember
If
MJ
you
fans.
had to give a preemptive review rating off just a trailer, how do you think this movie is going to pan out for you?
I'm willing to lowball it right now just in hopes that it'll prove me wrong more. I'll give it a 7 right now. I can see a 7 out of it. An 8 might be asking a little too much right now.
I am content with a 7, honestly.
From what I've seen.
Another question for you. Taking your childhood bias out of it, what do you rate Space Jam?
I don't have a childhood bias. I don't like Space Jam.
Dang.
Every time I've watched it since, it's not that good.
I don't like it.
It's so quick.
I just watched it.
I remember as a kid it being like this great big movie. The basketball game lasts like 15 minutes, man.
Yeah.
It's not that good.
I think some of the jokes are cool in it. And like, the animation's faithful, obviously, to that 20th
The
century
animation is really good.
kind of, Looney Tunes vibe. But story-wise, I'm like, it's more about him in baseball than it was even when he was in basketball, because he comes off the baseball field, not the basketball. So, yeah, I don't know. I understand why people like it, but for me personally, it's nothing that's blown out of the water.
What do you give it?
Probably a 5 out of 10. Yeah, just off the top of my head. But yeah, there's not a lot that really concerns me about it. I will look forward to it, and I think it's one of those movies we'll preview eventually in a possible summer movie preview that I'm thinking about doing in the next couple weeks.
Nice.
So yeah, so we'll move on a little bit. Guys, the showdown of the century, Godzilla versus King Kong, happened this past weekend.
Sure did.
For some of us, this lived up. For others, maybe not so much. But I want to lead this off, kind of give my thoughts on this film. First of all, we've waited a while for this one. There's no doubt about it. And long past this whole pandemic and everything, like this movie's been in production hell for the better part of a decade. Mm-hmm. To me, I was mostly paid off with this film. The action is amazing. It's riveting. It's, as far as a scale goes, Adam Wingard totally documented things from these are two behemoths. These are monsters going at it back and forth. The smashing, the sound design, everything is so intricate, and it works beautifully for the devastation of what follows. My weakness is, of course, the human characters. There's no surprise there, with the exception of a deaf girl who not a line in the movie that's audibly heard, yet is the best character throughout the movie. That says a lot.
Who is the main female?
I heard she's actually...
The main is Rebecca Hall.
She's cute.
She was in an Iron Man. She was in Iron Man 2 or 3.
I liked her.
Yeah.
I also heard that she was actually deaf. The little girl. Is
that
true?
She?
I don't know for sure. I didn't know if you would know that or not.
I know it's her first acting role, and she's 8 years old. That's all I know.
I believe she is an actual deaf actress.
Oh, okay.
I could see that because it seemed like it was really authentic.
Very authentic.
If she's not truly hearing impaired, bravo to her, because good Lord, it was definitely a good performance, the way that she mimicked that. So
Ryan, what'd you think of the movie? Your experience?
I liked it, man. I was ready for it. The freaking battle in the ocean scene, good Lord. That was so dope.
Yeah.
A little disappointed in, which I think I kind of knew, but wasn't 100% sure. But Mecha Godzilla. I didn't realize he was going to come in and steal the show as far as like the battle goes.
That was my biggest fear. I'm not going to be a winner, but there was.
Yeah. Visually, I really, really enjoyed it though. The action, like you said, the action was consistent the whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
I really loved the ocean scenes. The battle in the city, I didn't love. I don't know if it was just the way that they fell within the scale and stuff of the city, and like the way that they were busting through, like the close-ups of them like crashing into a building looked great.
Mm-hmm.
But when it was like the more wide angled shots of them like battling and getting like thrown through there, I don't know, it kind of looked cheesy to me, and I don't know how you really... It takes a serious amount of animation or CGI to make that.
I think that wide angle probably disconnected you, is probably what you're thinking. Like you were involved with this.
So close.
Yeah,
that bothered me a little bit. But outside of that, I thought it was fantastic. I was not disappointed whatsoever, other than I thought Kong was going to win, and he got his ass kicked 2 out of 3 times, so that sucked.
Damn right he did. Jesse, what'd you think of this movie?
I really liked it for like the action. It's like a popcorn movie. The more and more I think about it, though, like I'll never watch it again because it's just, it was delicious popcorn. I hadn't had any in forever. I probably won't ever watch it again, though. Like this whole entire idea of making it into a universe type of thing just didn't really work for me. I don't feel like they have any really good movies out of the 4. Like, I don't think the first Godzilla is good at all.
Oh, because I thought you really liked Skull Island.
I like Skull Island, but I wouldn't say that it's like it's not worthy of like a series for me.
Mhm.
Like that could be a standalone movie that was okay. It's not better than Peter Jackson's Kong. I don't think any of these four are better than Peter Jackson's Kong. I don't think I've ever, and I haven't watched, I'm not a huge Godzilla person either. Like, I don't know. I haven't watched a whole bunch of like the Japanese ones. I don't go back to when they're
Toho's.
wearing like costumes and everything.
Mhm.
So like when I grew up, Godzilla was Godzilla 2000. Like that was Godzilla to me. And now looking back, it's a terrible movie, but that's all that I knew.
Yeah.
So I didn't really have like any interest in that part of the story. So a lot of nostalgic people are like, yeah, we love it. He looks like the original. He's so good, blah, blah, blah. But like, I wasn't a big fan. It was like a Kong movie.
It was, and that was going to be one of my next points was that they went more with the Kong film. It's definitely his film.
It's 100%.
He's the
his
protagonist,
film.
like throughout this film. They follow him more, which I think is kind of the right move because Godzilla has always kind of been universally thought of as a villain.
My biggest problem with these movies is it's like in the first movie, Godzilla's going around and we're trying to kill him at first. He's blowing up airports and all this other shit. And then these giant insects come, he kills them, and instantly he's on a news station and it's like Godzilla, King of Monsters, saves the planet after he just decimated an entire city in this battle. But we're just like, yeah, it's all cool.
One of the many things I hated about the first film.
Yeah. And then the next one, they're like, well, he's the king of the monsters. He's going to protect us, and like millions die again. And then in this one, they're like, he's killing people. We don't know why he's killing people. And it's like, he killed maybe like 3,000 people. That's nothing compared to what you guys have been through. What the fuck?
Those are great points.
Yeah, because that was one of my main things is one, Godzilla just randomly showing up. There was no backstory to that.
Yeah.
And I didn't get the underworld. I don't know if there's a backstory to that, but the Middle
that was
Earth
in
thing
that
totally threw me off.
in the King of Monsters one. They said
Was
it
it?
was like
Talk
a
about it.
throwaway line,
Yeah.
like they all originated from the Hollow Earth, and like
Okay.
that's it.
So to me, that's why I think that those scenes would have been better accompanied in that film,
Yeah.
which is a lot of my problem with King of Monsters, which I think is the worst of the four movies. And
It's
I will
not
go to
good.
the grave defending that. Yeah, that should have been in that movie. For this film, I kind of appreciate that it's under 2 hours though. Like I like that as opposed to the other 3 films, which are over 2.
Yeah.
This one knows what it is. It rushes it to a fault, even to a certain extent. Like it rushes some of the themes and some of the storytelling. You just have to kind of go along with it and say like, okay, this is the world we're living in. This is the technology we have. Okay, I guess so. These kids can break into a government lab. All right, I guess so.
But like even that, like that whole story of how Mecha Godzilla comes to be,
Mhm.
they try to paint them as like these nefarious evil beings, but like
Yeah.
they didn't say anything about world domination.
Mm-mm.
They just wanted to make a giant robot to defend the world against these other kaiju monsters.
Yeah.
And they made a pretty fucking good one.
Mhm.
And like they like kill off all of the owners and they're like, oh well, this is what they get, evil science. And it's like, no, they were just trying to fucking protect the humans, but okay, let's just worry about the monkey that we've known for like one movie and the fucking giant lizard that's killed 7 million people so far.
And because we've already gone into spoilers, so because of that, like the thing that basically made me scratch my head at the end of the movie is I'm like, it took them how long to think to throw a drink into this computer system, and that would have been my first thing is like, fuck it, let's destroy this damn thing. Let's see how he does when we crash this computer and fuck up
Leave
his.
Millie Bobby Brown alone.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, and then you got the fat kid from Deadpool. Well, I was even there.
yeah, Julian. Yeah,
It wasn't as fat. The less fat kid from Deadpool.
I could have done without Alexander Skarsgård too. I'm like, his character meant nothing to me. Like there was no, like, if you had Rebecca Hall and the deaf girl, like that's fine. Like make them your whole human characters. Everybody else, totally dispensable.
Millie Bobby Brown has completely ruined her career already. I've said it.
Jeez.
She was amazing as 11 and they banked on that, but so many people have tried to cash in off of her image because of Stranger Things.
You
and
thought she
all
was
those
awful in
movies.
this?
I think it's a bullshit role. It's useless. She wasn't any good in the last one. She's not any good in this one because there's nothing to do with it.
What about Enola Holmes?
Terrible. Enola Holmes was also awful. And it was another thing where she's just like trying to cash in. I am Enola Holmes. No, the fuck you're not. You're 11 and that's all you can do. And that's all anybody's going to use you for
Jeez.
until you get older and realize, holy shit, I fucked up when I tried to do all this shit with my childhood acting skills. And now I'm going to try and branch out. And she'll end up like Daniel Radcliffe doing the Lady in Black movies or something, or some independent films.
Hey,
which
be
aren't
careful.
bad.
Be careful.
They're not bad.
Be very
They're
careful.
not bad, but he's not a superstar like he was. He was Harry Potter. Everybody in the world knew him. Nobody knows his work.
Swiss Army Man.
That's what I was trying
I
to
love
think of.
Swiss Army
Awesome
Man.
movie.
I love that movie. But 99% of people have no idea what that is, and they won't make it past the first 10 minutes.
I haven't watched it. I know everyone says it's amazing, but to Jesse's point,
That movie
all I
will
see
make
is
you
Harry
like
Potter.
really look at love in a new
Yeah,
light. It's
perfect.
It is a beautiful movie.
Yep.
There's
is-
lots of characters that take on a role, and that's all you see them as.
Yeah.
It happens. Like
Yeah,
they will
typecast.
always. I will never see Jesse Pinkman is anybody but Jesse Pink. I can't think of his
Right.
real name, but I don't care what he's in. That is all he will ever be to me. Same with Aaron Cranston or whatever.
And-
Walt White.
Oh,
He will-
Aaron Paul.
Aaron Paul.
Yeah.
And Need for Speed did exactly with him what they are doing
Fucking
with
movie.
whatever her name is. Can't even think of it. Millie Bobby Brown.
Yeah, it's true.
To your point.
Yeah, no, it is true. Certain roles you will never separate yourself from because that you become so iconic for that role. That's your
Yeah.
breakout role.
Yeah.
And
if
it's hard to get away from it.
And if it
What's-
happens too early, where do you have to go from there? When you've already hit the
Right.
plateau, where do you have to go from
Well,
there?
that's the
Make enough
thing is,
money,
like,
I mean,
And they just tried to do that because like you don't need that for this. This is just giant monster action. It will sell. And when they did that for King of Monsters, what's the one Asian actor, the guy who was also in Inception, who was in King of Monsters?
Oh,
Let them fight.
the dude that's in.
in the head, in the skull or whatever.
But even that, like that was just a cash grab. They're like, oh, who's a really famous Asian guy that we can get for this?
it's the same
Because
guy every
it's-
movie.
And it's a bullshit act. Just throw some stupid ass people in there and be done with it.
One person who
Tell
is
us how you really thought about the movie, Jesse.
The more and more I think about it, the more I don't like it.
one person who did kind of remove that typecast in a movie I saw this weekend was Caleb McLaughlin, who is the black kid from Stranger Things. He was in this
I like
movie called
him.
Concrete Cowboy that's now playing on Netflix. Man, he totally breaks typecast, and you should totally see that film. He might be the breakout star of this show. Seriously.
That's good.
But yeah, so let's go around final grades on Godzilla versus King Kong. We'll start with Ryan.
I give it a 7.
Mhm.
Jesse?
I just reamed it so hard. I'll still give it a 6. It was fun and the action was good, but it's just not a good movie.
I'm sticking with my 8.
Yeah.
I-
I teeter on 7 or 8. There was things that Jesse's brought up that I was annoyed with. There's
I
story
agree.
There's story plot points that annoy me, but it might be because I'm not educated on the rest of the series. And if I watch them, maybe I would be, and it wouldn't bother me as much. So
There's a lot shoehorned in for sure.
It's very hard for me to say like, well, they know what they're trying to be and like letting that stuff go. Like it's still not it eats at me.
Okay. Rounding out Hollywood Report this week, April 7th is a pretty spectacular day in cinema, as the three of us have learned today, and you soon will too. So we've got 3 big movies that came out on this day, different years, but are each celebrating their anniversary today. First off, The Sandlot, 28th anniversary for The Sandlot.
Fuck yes.
I can remember being 8 years old watching this movie at my friend's house after like during a sleepover, and we're memorizing and quoting every line. You know, I from an early age, I knew every single scene, every single line from this movie. Ryan, this is one of your favorite films of all time, right?
It is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's just a classic.
Mhm.
I can watch the movie every day for a week and not get sick of it. I can watch it multiple times in a day and not get sick of it. There's so much nostalgia. I talked about it a week or so ago when we had a show, that scene that's the 4th of July and they're playing baseball under the lights and the fireworks are going off. I see that and I hear the music from that scene.
Otis.
And I immediately just feel like nostalgic and like happy, and I just want to be with friends outside, cooking out, enjoying life. Like it immediately brings that to me.
Yeah.
It's comedic, it's serious. Freaking Squint shows you that if you never shoot your shot, you're never gonna win.
Wendy
Right?
Peppercorn.
Oiling and lotioning.
Freaking Wendy
Lotioning
Peppercorn.
and oiling.
It's one of the greatest things ever. I mean, she's a fucking babe.
Yeah.
Can't
Marley
take it
Shelton,
anymore.
played by Marley Shelton.
Yeah, dude. The movie's just fantastic.
How many kids did they have? They have 9
Right,
children.
yeah. I love it. It's tattooed on me. It will go down as one of my favorite movies of all time. And it's great that that's today's anniversary. I enjoy that we're recording on that day.
Yeah, I think it's definitely one of the best films about friendship. I would put it right up there with Stand By Me. I think is the best movie about friendship ever. But yeah, it really shows you, like, to Ryan's credit, as he said, you know, you can almost taste summer through everything you're seeing, the visuals, the way they're documented, the way because it's a timepiece. It's set in the 60s, you know, but they don't go overly dramatic with that. You know, they don't show visuals for the sake of, oh, well, look, 60s porn. Here we go.
It just seems like a nice neighborhood.
Yeah.
That's all that it is.
Yeah.
It reminds me of, I lived on a dead end street like he does in the movie in a cul-de-sac. And I played outside and we played baseball in the circle and kickball. And that's immediately what I remember. I remember it brings you back to being a kid when being a kid was fun, not like today. It sucks. But.
Yeah. And because your geography, you know, you become a friend that becomes a team that becomes a family, you know, it's a really cool film. And I think it's one that definitely still holds up today.
Yeah.
Another anniversary that came out today is it would be the 26th anniversary of Bad Boys, Michael Bay's cop drama, cop thriller. There has since been 2 sequels to this movie, and one of which I think has beaten this film since. I'll talk about that in a minute. But guys, Bad Boys, thoughts? Jesse, let's start with you.
I like Bad Boys. I like Bad Boys 2 better, but I do like Bad Boys.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I do.
Yeah, I like I kind of like the dark, gritty atmosphere of the original Bad Boys. I actually think the third one is the best one.
I don't know if I've seen the third one.
It came out last year, and it was so swept under the rug with everything that went on with the pandemic and other Oscar films around that time.
Yeah.
And everybody should give it a chance, because I think it's the one film that has legitimate stakes. So yeah,
I'll have to check it out then.
Ryan, Bad Boys.
Yeah, I like them. They're a fun action movie. I like Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. I like their play off of each other and stuff. Is the third one the most recent one, or is that a fourth one?
Yeah, third one came out last year in January.
I believe I watched it and it was pretty good, but overall I enjoy them. I mean, for what they are, I think they're really fun movies. So
yeah, I think Michael Bay's gotten a bad rep, obviously, with the later part of his career. You know, the Transformers movies have you know, given him a bad rep. But I think the movies like these and movies like Pain and Gain with The Rock and Mark Wahlberg show that he can make a damn good movie. And, you know, he's very much in love with that Miami kind of backdrop, and the way he shoots it in this film. You can feel the heat and humidity. It's very much a sweaty, transferable film.
Every character is sweaty.
Yeah.
In every Michael Bay film, every person is drenched in fucking sweat.
he can make Megan Fox sweaty any day of the week, and I will not be mad about it. So
That's true.
He certainly has no problem documenting her.
Right.
Yeah, I love Bad Boys. I would think I don't know, man. It might be to where all three of us have a different favorite in this one.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's the third. Jesse said the second. Would you say the first is your favorite?
Which one's the one where the sister plays a big role?
The second.
Second.
Gabrielle Union.
I like the
Miss
second one.
Dwayne
Second one's
Wade.
good.
Yeah, I like the second.
The whole
one.
KKK scene at the beginning is so
they
good.
come on the boat. Yeah, the second one is dope.
Couple of grape sodas.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably my favorite one as well. The first
The
one
little
is
boyfriend
the stripper
shows
one.
up.
Yeah.
The
You
first
at
one's the
least
stripper
40.
one.
Huh?
Is the first one the stripper
Yeah,
one?
with Tia Leone.
Man, that's tough, honestly.
Yeah.
Probably the second one still, but I really like all of them. I
Yeah.
mean, I think it's a series where all of them are good.
I think
which is
so, too.
Very rare. So
I agree. Final film on our anniversary list, the 32nd anniversary of Major League,
wild.
a Cleveland tradition. I mean, this film started it all, man. This might have been the film that inspired the actual Indians to do well in that 94-95 season.
I did not realize that came out before that.
Yeah, 89, this movie dropped. They were still losers. They were still riding a 48-year streak at that point.
And then Draft Day came out and did the same for the Browns.
Clearly.
I think that had more to do with the Jaguars owner than anything. But Major League, I'm going to start this off. One of my favorite, if not maybe my favorite baseball movie of all time. I love Major. Yes. The first Major League, phenomenal. The other two, we'll get to that on another day. But Major League very much holds up, a hard R rating. Great cast: Tom Berenger, Charlie Sheen, Wesley Snipes, Dennis Haysbert, all these great stars and perfectly cast. And of course, Margaret Whitten as the owner who hates her team and wants to move them to Florida. Just a great all around film, great comedy, and probably one of the better sports shot movies at that time. Sports movies were very bad.
Favorite baseball movie of all time?
I would say so, yeah.
Field of Dreams, League of Their Own, Moneyball.
He didn't say shit there, did you?
I had to hold it.
It's tough.
So
I
look
look
the one with Kevin Costner. He's the pitcher.
Yeah.
Which one's that?
Wait. For Love of the Game.
Love of the Game.
Great movie.
Come on,
and you get props just for even saying that.
So what's yours?
My favorite baseball movie?
Yeah.
I really like baseball.
I mean, I'm not trying to not. I mean, it's a great movie, but I just like there's so many
Angels
great,
in the Outfield.
Angels in the
There you go.
Outfield.
Little Big League.
There's so many great baseball stories.
Mhm.
Oh, that's tough. I mean, it is a great movie though. I can't knock it.
What has a better top 3? Because baseball has way more good movies
Baseball has
than
the best
football.
movies of
But
any
if you take
sport.
the top 3, who has better, football or baseball?
baseball,
Remember the Titans?
baseball.
What else you got? Any
Waterboy?
Given Sunday?
Just get the fuck
The
out of
Waterboy's a great
Get
movie.
the fuck out
Is
of
Any
here.
Given Sunday on your list?
No,
What about The Last Boy Scout?
Yeah, Last Boy
I
Scouts.
don't know what that is.
Yeah, Damon Wayans and Bruce Willis.
Sorry.
You're talking football movies. You gotta watch The Last Boy
No,
Scout.
I'm just talking shit.
So good, bro.
Bruce
Talking
Willis.
shit.
Dude.
Baseball definitely has the best movies. No doubt.
Sport movies for sure.
So I'll start with this with The Last Boy Scout. Like, obviously it's a great movie and I enjoy it. Bruce Willis sleeps through this role completely. If you ever want to see a movie where Bruce Willis is just earning a paycheck, watch The Last Boy Scout. This dude,
Do you not feel like it was part of that role though?
It could
his
be.
character.
but I think it's an easy casting, especially around that time because he was the troubled bad boy.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it goes kind of hand in hand. I feel like it plays into the character of that movie. Like
Yeah.
he's kind of this just fucking rundown cop or whatever, and like he's beat down and skates through it.
Mhm.
And he's kind of lazy in it.
Well, and I guess him and Damon Wayans
good,
didn't
though.
like each other. Like behind the scenes, they hated each other
Really?
throughout that whole movie. So, yeah, I would still say baseball's the best. Like,
Football really has bad movies.
yeah,
Yeah, dude.
but beyond like,
Rudy.
I like Rudy.
Rudy.
I like Rudy,
It's
but
not the best movie.
I wouldn't
though.
compare it to like a For Love of the Game or a Field of Dreams.
We
Love
Are
of the
Marshall.
Game. We Are Marshall is really good.
Yeah.
I cried.
The
that
Blind Side.
No, I don't like The Blind Side.
movie. Yeah.
Ace Ventura.
Hey, there we go.
Okay, anyway. But yeah, Major League, the 32nd year, man, that's crazy.
That's wild.
And it still has such a following. You can go to an Indians game today and see a Rick Vaughn jersey, and it's still very much
The haircut and everything, man.
yeah.
Jerry.
It's iconic to Cleveland. Jerry Maguire, that's a good one.
Yeah, that is a good
I
one.
do like Jerry Maguire.
I'll end this talk.
There's a lot of football movies.
There's a lot, yeah. And I don't know. I still think baseball's the best, though.
Baseball is the best. I was just fucking around.
Did you guys ever see the alternate ending for the Major League?
No.
And one that gets a lot of shit. It's on YouTube. You can watch it there. So basically,
Does it transition into basketball?
so do you count that as a baseball movie? Because it's not technically.
Oh no.
See, so that's by itself. No, this one. So as to the first movie, we know everything that happens. They win, they save the team, and all that. In the alternate ending, the same thing happens, but there's a scene afterwards that shows that Margaret Whitten, the owner, was actually in on the whole thing, and she did it as a way to motivate them into to being winners. Everybody hates
I
that
don't like that.
because they love hating that bitch like throughout that whole movie. And yeah, so that's why they left on the cutting room floor. They brought everybody back like 4 weeks after they were done shooting to shoot the actual ending
Yeah, I
of
don't
the
like
movie. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much everything for Hollywood Report. And,
No, it's not. There's another thing on here. And he's the biggest topic on the list.
they're
Oh, Kanye. We got 2 more things left.
Did you put that on?
Yeah. We got Kanye West documentary coming to Netflix.
okay.
Anybody excited for that?
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm gonna call up
Jesse's.
work.
Oh my goodness.
Dude, it spans the last 20 years of his life.
Okay,
gonna be
now I'm
dope.
excited. Yeah, like
Yeah,
so
it's not a recent thing because of everything going on. It's a documentary, man.
I could give a shit less about Kim Kardashian or that fucking romance or
No,
anything.
This is going to be fantastic, man.
Yeah.
This is going to be him coming up in Chicago, his relationship with his mom and his grandma, them dying, him dealing with it. Oh, man, I'm ready.
Who's doing it? Did you say Apple?
It's coming out on Netflix.
Oh, Netflix.
Netflix is doing
That's
it.
how you know it's going to be good. Oh, I'm so excited, man. I love Kanye.
Yeah, I read the article about it. Excuse me. Yesterday or something.
Mm.
I think it's gonna be dope.
Mhm.
I love any kind of documentary like that, and especially
Yeah.
like someone as iconic as him. I'm curious to see, is it going to be a standalone or is it going to be like a series? Because there's 20 years.
Mhm.
I
You
think I
can't fit
heard
that
it's,
in like an hour and a half.
I heard it's a
documentary.
2-part thing.
That would be cool.
I don't know for sure.
I would like a Save the Last Dance give me several parts. Kanye's got a lot of story to tell.
He does.
I mean, and try to squeeze that. If they try and do like an hour and a half documentary, I'm gonna be pissed.
Especially if he does it. If he's got his fingerprints on it, that thing's
Bro.
gonna be insane.
You could do an hour on the whole VMA fallout after the whole Taylor Swift thing by
Right.
itself.
There's so much content for him. Music career, personal life, his shoe and the shoe stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's just way too much to try and fit into like a one sit down. There's just no way you can do it and do it right.
I love a good documentary. I think the one weakness with a documentary is a lot of the time you'll only watch it once and you'll have no reason to ever watch it again.
True.
But like, to me, I think a good documentary can not only inform you, but it can also entertain you.
Yeah. I mean, what are you going to go back and watch that for again afterwards?
Right.
I'm watching the Demi Lovato one right now.
Mhm.
Really good documentary.
Not
But
bad.
bro.
Dude, it's so thick.
But I'll have no reason to go back and hear that story again. It's like you watch it to find out the behind the scenes, what happened in their life, and then
Mhm.
there's no it loses its luster
That's
after that.
yeah.
So,
So a lot of people wonder why I rarely ever give documentaries my favorite film of the year. Last year I did. Because I feel like Time is a different story on its own. You can watch that from different angles each time you rewatch it.
Have
So-
either of you watched Kanye West's movie? He once
Huh?
submitted a movie. It's really more of like a really long music video, but it's a
is it for
Chick-fil-A.
Is it for Runaway?
no, it's for it's the entire album of My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Yeah, Runaway has it's like a 30-minute
It's part of it, but it's the whole entire thing is like an hour long. However long the actual album is how long the movie is.
I've seen parts of it and I can't barely remember it.
It's not anything special. I just figured you guys
You just
would
want to
maybe
throw it
see
out there because
because Kanye is great and he's done all things.
Runaway was one of my favorite songs from him, and I hated the music video. I was like, I'll never watch this again.
When he performed that live,
Yes, at the
after
VMAs,
disappearing for a
the
year,
red suit.
and all white background, and he just goes out. Nobody had heard it yet either. It wasn't like he was on the radio already or anything. Like
Yeah.
he just, bing,
Look at.
bing. I was just like, what the fuck is this dude doing? And then it just, and the bass,
Pusha T comes out and
So
raps a
good.
line. Yeah.
so good. Yes, I want more because Kanye's got me there.
we'll end
Go ahead.
because
Because I remembered that when Jesse said something, I was like, yeah.
we will end the show. We could end the show after this because it's going to be the greatest thing of all time. But
That's right.
we could end the show or the Hollywood Report segment. Chris, you who have listened to the show, watched, whatever, know that I loathe, hate, despise, have great disgust for the movie Fences.
Denzel Washington.
And Chris has no reason why. And he asked me to come to the table with 3 reasons as to why it's the worst movie in existence. And if it was wiped off the face of this planet, no one would care. And my reasons are I did not, in all caps, not like that almost completely. I did not like the almost completely singular location that the film took place in. To me, eliminated any depth of the story. I hated that it was primarily like in their living room or whatever. It was at their house in the backyard. I hated it. It was so boring and dry and dull. I was like, this is it's like 10 minutes. Like, we're going to change the scene? Or
You would hate a Raisin in the
Are
Sun.
we stuck here? What's going on?
It's based on a play.
It was awful.
That play takes place on one stage.
It's awful.
One location.
The singular location killed it for me. It was hard for me to have
And by the way, it's not all in one location.
primarily
There's a scene at the bar. There's a scene at the trash yard. There's a scene.
85%. Is that fair?
I would say, are we talking so the house and outside the house there?
85%.
80% of the movie is
I'll go with
probably
that.
there. Yeah.
80% in a singular location.
So you
Awful.
you don't like Clerks.
Very slow paced.
That I'll give you.
The movie dragged on forever, seemingly so due to the scene running for so long. The scenes themselves didn't cut. They seemed like there was no breakup. Like
It's life. Yeah.
It was just lit. Yeah, it was just. I need like cut scenes. I needed to change location. I needed to change the dialogue. I need to see something going on. It followed the
You
same.
need stimuli.
Yeah, I was not stimulated whatsoever.
So before you go on to the third one, here's what I'll say about that. And I will give you that one. Here's what I will say. You are either into these conversations or you're not. It's the same thing with Tarantino movies too. So this is why Death Proof isn't one of Tarantino's best known films. It's one of my favorites though.
That's why Hateful Eight is not
Don't
one of my
do it.
favorite because the scene that drags on forever ruins it for me.
And that is in 2 different locations throughout the whole movie. So
Hateful Eight
and
is
it's not
suspense
it's
building.
probably my least favorite Tarantino movie.
I was going to say, so if you hate one, you have to hate the other.
I
then.
do.
Yeah. Okay.
It's my least favorite Tarantino movie.
But as I was saying though, like you're either in these conversations or you're not. And if you're not, this movie is going to be no good for you. And that slice of life where it just keeps going on and on is going to feel like twice the length of the film.
Yep.
Okay.
My third is
That's one for me.
It lacked excitement. It felt very monotone. And that was not only in the acting, but the story and cinematic location left a lot to be desired to me.
That's kind of the first one though.
Get
Get
to
'em,
an
Chris.
extent. To
Eat
an
'em.
extent. The first one was location. This is the movie as an entirety. There was no excitement. There was no change in value. It seemed consistent as far as dialogue, any sort of action outside of the scene
Which is the problem he's at on the second problem.
I've never seen this.
outside of the scene where the son and him get in an argument in the backyard.
Mhm.
That was the height of anything vocally changing to me,
Dramatic.
feeling anything of dramatic level to me. Like it was just not great. And it is to this day the only movie where I felt so anxious to want to leave that I almost had a panic attack because I couldn't.
Because I was fucking leave.
Because I was there with my family and I had nowhere to go. I would have had to just sit in. I mean, it probably would have been better just to sit by myself in the lobby, but I didn't want to be that guy because my uncle, who I love to death, and is I share my middle name as his first name, loves it.
Yeah.
To the point where he talks about it all the time.
I love it too.
And I'm like, oh yeah, man. I'm so glad we went to see it together. It was such a good movie because he loves it so much
It was like my 14th favorite film that year.
that I don't want to get into any sort of debate over it.
Mhm.
But like the entire movie, thankfully I was sitting on we were the very last row and I was the end seat and I was leaning over the thing like just on my phone the whole time with the brightness as low as it could possibly go.
Mhm.
And me and my little brother were sitting next to each other and we were like, this is awful. We hated it. It was awful. But those are my 3 reasons. To each their own. I despise it.
Is it
Jesse,
streaming on anything?
Don't see it.
I don't think so.
Don't.
Right now.
Do
See
either
it.
of you own it?
I do.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I own it. You know, God, I got it on VHS.
This guy
so
definitely doesn't fucking own
Got it
it.
digitally.
Bring it next week. I will watch it and I will be the deciding vote
Don't do it to yourself.
Here's
Don't do it, bro.
my.
because I don't love those types of movies.
Mhm.
Okay, bring it.
But I'll be honest, if it's
Yeah, and that's why I was gonna say, I'm like, if Jesse's the deciding vote, I think he's gonna lean more toward Ryan because. So here's the thing: can you watch a movie without going to your cell phone?
oh yeah, I don't ever look at my phone.
Not
a new
with
movie
this
ever.
one.
Because that's the only way I think this movie has any chance with you.
Yeah, I don't look at my phone when I watch new movies.
Okay, I'll bring it.
Shows I will, but not movies. No.
All I'll say is Viola Davis won the Oscar.
Is it just like? Actually,
So
don't tell me
awful
anything.
for her.
I don't need to know anything.
Yeah, you.
about it.
I honestly.
Did you say fuck her?
No. I said I feel bad for her. I feel bad for her. I mean, great for her for winning it, but I feel bad for her having to be in that. And I love Denzel, and I feel it's just like, ugh.
That part where I don't want to say it. Yeah, I was gonna say.
And since then, what has Viola Davis done? She's just been in the Suicide Squad because of cash grabs.
Right. Because All Fences was so awful. It ruined her career. Yeah, I would love you to watch it. I would like your opinion on it. So you need to do that and report back next week. Honest review.
He's gonna be so mad when I come back. Like, guys, I loved it.
Here's the thing. I will absolutely not be surprised if you enjoy it because I probably am in the minority. It's not a film for me. I think you really have to want to be involved in that story.
Yeah.
Because it's
Yeah.
based off true story to some extent, isn't it?
No.
No, okay. You have to just be involved in what's going on to care. And I just was not. And it was bad. It was real bad.
Did you ever see Ma Rainey's Black Bottom that came out late last year? It was
I
like
did
an
not.
Oscar contender. Chadwick took the Golden Globe for it. It's kind of the same circumstance. It's like it's a play turned movie that's one setting. So if those kind of movies aren't your thing,
That doesn't bother me. Like some of my favorite movies, plays of all time are in one setting. 12 Angry Men.
yeah.
Most of A Raisin in the Sun is in one setting. I really like that. I mean, that doesn't mean nothing to me.
All right, we'll see.
Panic Room.
That's not in one seat. I mean,
I'm just fucking-
yeah. No, it's true though. It's in a singular location.
Jared Leto's
But-
got cornrows.
But in Fences, it's literally like in their room. It'd be like the whole movie taking place in this studio, and like we go out on my deck for a little bit, and like go down to the county store.
See, and that
Like,
sounds really
it's
boring, but I
Panic
don't.
Room, like,
I don't know the
entices
premise of
you.
the story, though. That's the thing. If
Mhm.
the dialogue, like he compared it to Tarantino, I could watch a Tarantino movie all in one room.
Only in the aspect,
I love Hateful
only in the
Eight.
aspect of Hateful Eight, I think, with the way that it's outlined.
I was saying with Tarantino, so with Tarantino movies, I'm using Death Proof as a particular template here.
Mhm.
So with Death Proof, it is 90% dialogue.
That's the only one I've never seen.
If you are not into these conversations and these characters, it is going to feel arduous to you.
Yeah.
To me, I love the fucking characters. I love the talk, where it goes. It feels so spontaneous, kind of like we're talking about 6 different things
Yeah.
in the scope of 5 minutes. Yeah.
In the same breath, though, that's the same reason why I don't like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and that's probably my least favorite Tarantino movie, because there's not that dialogue that's gripping and catching you and doing all that other stuff, and it just seems like it's a movie that's not really about much. It's just about this guy, but it's not like you're really that invested. It's beautiful and looks incredible, and it's all over the place, and you see all of Hollywood back in the 40s or whenever it's supposed to take place, 50s, 60s, I don't know, 60s.
Yeah, 60s. early
And
60s.
it's just for me.
I wanna
all
be-
of our music taste is so different because I really enjoyed that movie.
Yeah.
We all have way different.
You
to an
really
extent,
like that movie
we
too.
like a lot of stuff, but we also have a lot of different tastes. in
That was
things.
Chris and I's first like
disagreement.
real conversation,
on the film
because we weren't really like buddies then. I just did the mini golf tournament, I think, because you knew Nick.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
I just knew you were the movie guy, so I was like, yeah. You asked me what I thought about it. I was like, I don't really like it that much, and then we had a big old talk, and he beat my ass in mini golf, and
You talk shit
all
about.
right, I guess I'll be friends with this guy.
What happens?
You want to play?
Yeah, let's talk about After Fences.
All right, transition on.
Where are we going next? You guys want to do
Sports?
Let's do sports first. Let's get social. We actually have quite a bit of
Sports.
stuff.
Let's get sports.
Let's get sports. Yeah, let's get whatever. Whoops.
45-40, run, William, run! 20, 15.
Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. LeBron James with the rebound.
This is locker room talk.
LeBron James.
Oh, greatest play in NBA history.
What is going on, Mr. ESPN?
No.
Sports Illustrated.
I was gonna say I do not work for them.
Whoops. Sorry.
I there is a recent opening at ESPN. I am open to taking that position.
Is
I will
there?
not smoke a blunt with strippers on live TV.
I'd rather see you than Stephen A. Smith any day.
What a transition.
I know that was good. I didn't even know it was on the list.
That's
But
why I said ESPN.
so
It's intentional.
earlier you said that LeBron is my favorite player, which he is. But growing up, I loved Paul Pierce. I love Paul Pierce, and I know he does not get the credit he deserves. He didn't deserve a Kobe walk-off like he thought for his retirement, but the man was disrespected, damn it. I'd be smoking blunts and getting strippers too if I was disrespected like that my whole life. I love Paul Pierce.
That's funny because he's LeBron's rival.
I know. I shouldn't have liked him, but I did. I like a lot of my rivals. I liked Florida growing up.
Mm-hmm.
They beat us twice in the basketball and football championship in the same year. Still liked them.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, whatever. But Paul Pierce goes live on, was it Facebook or Instagram? I don't remember what the platform
Instagram.
was.
Yeah, I think he was on Instagram Live last Friday or so.
Yeah.
Dude was blitzed. That dude was drunk and high at the same time, drinking champagne on an airplane. He was fucked up.
Bro, strippers.
Booties clapping behind him. Only like 150 people were watching too.
Yeah, dude. He
Like
343, I think. Is what it
Yeah,
topped out
people
at.
are like making fun of him about it and stuff.
Lost your job over 343 people watching your stream.
Yeah, people made a bigger deal about people going, where's Rachel Nichols in the comments than they did about what he was doing.
Yeah.
But what do you guys think? You think he should have been fired?
Yes. I think
Because
that-
there's a large movement of people who are saying he should not have.
Here's my thing. Not that I agree with. Okay, it's kind of like it could go both ways, because I don't necessarily agree that as a celebrity or someone in public that you should lose all ability to live your life. But when you sign up for that, I think you sign up for the fact that you lose a part of your life. Like, you are in the spotlight all the time. You have to know what the consequences of that are. And as a public figure, that company is like, oh, I don't want that image being portrayed upon us. This dude's out here fucking lit and whatever. I think they have the right to let him go. Do that on your own time. Why'd you have to go live on Instagram with it? I think it was just a
Because he was fucking
lack
lit.
in judgment. Do I think he deserved to be fired? Yeah, I don't really care one way or another, but do they have the right to? By all means, I think they did for sure.
It's tough because like with celebrities, you always have to live like there's a camera on you, even if it's not your camera. You know, so the thing is, if he goes out and he doesn't put that on his own Instagram, and we'll say some random stranger just films him, does he get fired for the same?
I was gonna ask the exact same question.
Yeah. So like, would he get fired in that if it wasn't on his Instagram?
I don't think so. Honestly, I don't.
So the
think
difference
that he
is that
would.
it was his.
I think it was because of the lapse in judgment that he had, posting it himself, not having that awareness. I think that if I was walking by and I went, "Holy shit, Paul Pierce with all these booties clapping, what the?" And I put it on, he might have got fined, maybe had a suspension, maybe he would have been gone for like a month or something, but like he wouldn't have been fired for that.
When you do it on your own time, he wasn't doing anything illegal that I know of. I don't know where he was at, where he was smoking. If it's illegal,
He's in California,
so he wasn't doing anything illegal on that aspect. But when he went live on his own page, he's saying, "Hey, look at me. I'm part of the ESPN brand, which is owned by Disney, by the way, which caters to family and children.
Yeah,
you are saying, look at me, look what I'm doing." Now, when you're off on your own at the strip club, getting high and drinking on your personal time, not work related, and someone comes by and does that, I think that's a different scenario.
So you said what just turned it for me basically was that, so when you associate with a particular brand or a brand name, that is where you're going down, because that company has an image to protect long past your personal time, and they're going to do what they feel they have to do. I think it's it's a shitty way to end his career as an analyst, but like it's part of it. It really is.
Do you think anybody else picks him up? You think this tarnishes his?
No, because Paul Pierce wasn't great at what he did anyways. Yeah. The dude was trying to be like a Skip Bayless, where he was always inciting some kind of outlandish opinion about something. He hated on LeBron all the time. And it made him just kind of look salty because LeBron beat him, and he just wasn't great at it. I didn't like him as an analyst, but as a player, he was great.
And the problem with sports today, as far as journalisms go, like journalism, as far as it goes, they're all owned by one company, Viacom. So if you fucked one over, you fucked them all over. Yeah.
I had somebody compare him. Is it Stuart Scott? Somebody?
Stuart Scott.
Is that Stuart Scott?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I had somebody comparing it to him, like in the stuff he gets away with on air when he records, and like.
Oh no, you're not talking about Stuart Scott.
Well, he's dead.
Stuart Scott's dead. You're talking about God damn it.
You know his name?
I'm drawing Stephen A. Smith.
No, he's
I think that's
no.
No,
it's Shannon Sharp.
Stand that guy.
Shannon Sharp.
Oh,
because Shannon's always drinking Hennessy and smoking cigars on air, but that's like his joke, and that's like, and honestly, I don't think it's the blunt that got him fired. No. It's the strippers.
The booties clapping.
You can't have Shannon Sharp ain't got no strippers behind him, and he ain't smoking weed. He's not smoking weed either. He's smoking Black and Milds, and he's smoking cigars, and it's in the studio. Ain't no weed in there. So,
and he's right with every Cowboys prediction he ever makes.
So that's okay.
So
yeah. And he beats the shit out of Skip Bayless in debates every day.
I fucking hate Skip Bayless. Go for it.
Whatever. I mean, it's like any other job. If I were to do that, if I went to the strip club and fucking put it on Facebook Live tonight, I would be fired tomorrow as a teacher.
Yeah, absolutely.
But again, if I filmed it from a distance,
as a teacher, I might still get fired.
Really?
I don't know, because it's public and they don't want like families to see that. But if I go to the strip club and like I walk out as the principal drives by and he sees me, I'm not getting fired.
Yeah, that's tough.
Like,
that's a tough debate, because where do you cross the line?
Yeah.
I mean, where does going to a strip club mean that you're like,
when you represent an image and your platform is what everybody knows you from, especially where you work closely with
what's
other
wrong with going to a strip club?
But
though? There's some classy ladies out there.
There's not some
they're
classy
just trying to
ladies.
go through college.
But it's just, I don't know. It's just, there's a stigma for sure. I don't have a problem. Like, if you go to a strip club, cool. That ain't for me. I'm not gonna pay to see some naked chick.
No, I absolutely agree. I was trying to make a point.
No, but that's what I'm saying though, is like, you work closely with Rachel Nichols.
That'd be enough for me.
I know. Saw her once whenever LeBron shot his commercial at Patterson Park. She was there. I asked for her number. She did not turn and look at me. She was just totally ignored me. It's like, Rachel, what's your number? Nope. Totally ignored. But I don't even know where I was going with that now.
Off the
but-
rails. Either way. So yeah,
I think he deserved to be fired. He won't get picked up anywhere.
Yeah.
They'll replace him with somebody. I don't know who, but
Jesse Unk.
probably not after they listen to this about Rachel Nichols. Like an hourglass, man. Whew.
Yeah.
Other than that, though, there's not a ton of stuff going on in sports. A lot of it's like political. Rangers opened up 100% attendance, 40,000 fans deep, totally sold out. Videos came out, hardly anybody wearing a mask, which I don't believe that they have to anymore.
No, it's not mandated anymore. They were
Not in that state.
deep, bro.
Yeah, they
That
were
stadium
completely
was
sold
packed.
out. Sold out.
First team to fill their stadium since COVID. First team to allow full capacity since COVID dropped.
Yeah, and I think that you will see because of that, you're going to see more stadiums open up.
We're never going to get out
Because
of this
they
thing.
are going to make a ton of money. The only thing,
Here's the thing.
now is we are at 20% vaccinations nationwide. That will continue to steadily increase. I don't think that it's smart by any means. I think it's stupid as hell. But I'd go.
Did you
I'm vaccinated. I don't give
You're
a shit.
vaccinated, yeah.
Right.
Did you watch any of the game?
Fuck no.
They did everything in their power to not show that crowd.
Oh, really?
All of their
Tight
all of-
cuts.
tight cuts. Everything was below the wall. They showed very minimal coverage of that stadium. It was all on field and players. They were nothing to do with it.
They should just get on the loudspeaker and say, "Everyone here is a dumbass."
Bro, it was wild. I was really shocked to see it, especially as a home opener or opening day game.
Yeah.
And that's
They
something
wanted
that
nothing to do with what was
I
going
don't
on.
agree with that either. Because like if you're a major league, you have the say on whether or not they can do that.
Absolutely.
So don't try to hide it. You better embrace that shit, because clearly you did this because you had the legal means to do so. You wanted to see what the turnout was like.
Yep.
And I guarantee you,
Well, you got to
the
think,
backlash
though,
hasn't been horrendous. It really hasn't.
MLB doesn't have to agree with it, though. They can't necessarily stop them. But it doesn't mean they have to agree with their stance.
At the end of the day, they can. That's their
can
league.
you say that you can't fill your stadium?
Oh,
Though?
yeah.
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 I'm just thinking
Um,
like Texas as a whole said, okay, we're doing what we want at this point, so they're going to do what
I-
they want. But
I-
I don't think overall that necessarily means that MLB wants to be like, hey, look what we're allowing. Maybe they were just trying to take away from the backlash they could receive.
I don't think MLB ever is going to be the person that's going to restrict the
No.
attendance anyways. It all came from the governors.
Because
Right.
Right.
Right. But what I'm saying is maybe they weren't showing as much coverage because they don't want to be out in front saying, hey, we're allowing this. Like they're not
Right.
stopping them, but they're
But
not
that's
gonna, like
hypocritical as fuck.
plaster like, hey, by the way, look.
I guarantee you, if they made a shitload of money, which I can't imagine that they didn't, 40,000 strong buying $12 beers and all the food in the world, because Texas has a
Give
great
me all them
concession stand.
wieners.
Other stadiums are going to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And as long as their government allows it, if like DeWine said, once we hit 50% vaccination or some shit, he's going to just lift everything. That Indian stadium will have more fans in it than you have ever seen in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Because we're averaging like 6,000 people in there at the most. That place will be packed, at least at the beginning.
which is a point I was about to make about Texas. Well, at least they lead the league in attendance finally for once.
Damn.
And that was my, like, I don't know. I thought it was dumb. I think it's dumb as far as setting an example. We're this close. We're going into the summer. They're saying that we're going to have enough vaccines by May for everybody to be vaccinated, and that's just going to skyrocket. I follow an account on Twitter that keeps a daily record of how many people are vaccinated.
I've been looking at it.
It's been steadily increasing pretty quick. Like we were going by like 0.2% daily, and we've been going almost a full percentage every day at this point. So it should be soon. Once we get to 50%, I'm free. Like at that point, I'm not holding back. The only time I will wear a mask is if I'm around a bunch of people I don't know, and that's just for Steph. If Steph was able to get vaccinated because she wasn't pregnant and everything, like I'd be like, I don't care. I'm living my life the way that I want to live right now. But I just don't care.
That's fair.
If you don't want to get vaccinated and you want to fucking die, I don't even care anymore.
Tonight
I'm
on
not convincing
ESPN,
anybody.
new analyst Jesse Unk says,
Fuck it.
So, Jesse, what'd you think of the game? Yeah.
Jeez.
In bigger news, Dan Gilbert,
Bro.
owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers,
Lord.
used the opportunity of COVID-19 to make exceedingly egregious amounts of money. $45.4 billion in a year.
His net worth grew
Based off of his
45
stock
billion.
purchases. That's where he made all of that money. So this guy goes from having $6 billion, which is already an astronomical amount of money, to making $45.4 billion. Almost, it's like $850 million a week.
His net worth went up that. His net worth went from 6 to 51 point something. Now.
So this guy in a day, was making more than the three of us will make in our entire lives combined.
It would take me.
Way to set the precedent high there.
It would take me 280,000 days to make as much money as he's made.
That'll
At your current?
At my current salary.
That'll make you get up in the morning.
280,000 years or days. I can't remember, but one of those.
It's probably years.
280,000 years.
People don't realize how much money $1 billion is.
Have you ever watched any of those things where they show you like the rice videos?
So I had one that was, the rice was like impactful, but like I saw this one where it was like, it was just digitized little like centimeter cubes or whatever on my computer screen.
And they grow.
And it's like, no, you scroll.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, here is the average American's wages or whatever. And it's like $30,000. It's like, there's a cube. And you scroll over and it's like, here's $1 million. And it's like, it's a big clump. Mm-hmm. And you keep scrolling and it goes like, it's like 4 inches long or something at this point. And then they go, here's $1 billion. And you just start scrolling. And you scroll.
Bro.
And you scroll. And it's like probably like 4 or 5 feet. It's hard to tell because it's digital. But then it goes to, this is what Jeff Bezos is worth. Oh, and you scroll. And you scroll. And you scroll. And I scrolled because it gives you like updates as you go. And it's like, this is how much money all of the bottom, 100 million people in America make. And then you scroll. And then you scroll. And it's like, this is what the entire country of this is worth. And you scroll. And you scroll. And I literally scrolled for, I'd say 5 or 10 minutes. And I fucking gave up.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I don't have time to sit here and scroll for an hour. Like I've already gone through like 15 updates. And that was Bezos's money. And they're making big money like that.
1 billion is insane.
The guy's been on his fucking deathbed all year. He had a stroke.
Yeah, he looks kind of
He's been eating through a straw and he made $45.4 billion.
Bro, he was sitting in the hospital whacking it and buying stocks and making a shit ton of money.
We should kidnap his son. Don't hit the button. I mean it. I mean it.
The thoughts and comments of Jesse Unk do not reflect the Made to Motivate podcast.
It's my money and I need it now.
I saw this movie. Jesus God. I saw this movie a couple of years ago. It was called All the Money in the World.
Call Dan Gilbert. 877 cash now. 877 cash now.
Good. Now maybe he can put a team on the court.
That guy could put $1 billion into Cleveland's like infrastructure and completely renovate and change that city for the better. And we're paying the fucking taxes for his stadium. He could pay for that stadium and it wouldn't make a dent.
51 billion.
It wouldn't make a scratch.
Billion.
And in 27 days from today, we will give him even more money. Because we are going to the Cavs and Suns game.
Fuck that guy.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not giving him shit.
Yeah. Sell those tickets back.
God damn, bro. 51 billion with a B.
Billion. He's now the 6th richest man in the world.
Damn.
Good old Dan.
You sure? I thought he was like 23.
That's what I thought. I thought I saw 23rd.
Whatever, though.
Chris Schwartz said 6, but maybe I'm wrong.
Insane.
Still 23rd is great,
I think
too.
it's 23rd. But that's
23rd.
In the world.
23rd. What's sad is 22 people have more money than that. Just think,
capitalism.
Just think, like he could just come down and be like, Dan, I take back what I said about stealing your son, about kidnapping your son. All right. Sorry that we made a joke about you.
The thoughts and comments of Jesse Unk do not reflect
He doesn't
the
feel
Made to
bad.
Motivate podcast.
Me and Chris.
You said he was whacking. You said he was whacking it and buying stocks.
Do not agree with Jesse. So when he steals them, we will kindly return him
Fuck
to
you, Ryan.
for $1 billion.
You said that he was whacking it in his bed.
Who's we? You got a fucking mouse in your pocket?
Chris is the only person over there that's hasn't said anything.
You're sitting around the hospital all day. What are you doing?
He could literally.
He's whacking it and buying stock.
Think about what he could do, though. He could come down here and he could make Made to Motivate the #1 podcast in the world overnight. He could make The Film Freak its own fucking movie rental business
Empire.
First, he'd have to get a consistently
Empire.
working website.
in a night.
Bro, you could do anything with that amount of money.
He could erase
You can
all
do
of our
anything
debt
you want.
and not even think. The interest alone on that money, he would make back all of our debt, all of the everything that we own, and he could put us up in new mansions.
Bro,
and that interest would make it back in a day.
He makes more interest than we're making in a year.
Yeah, I know, Jesse. I've met Bruce Wayne too. Okay, look, this is why I don't fucking like him in
think
those
about
movies.
this shit. He fucking
I want to see Batman. Fuck Bruce Wayne.
$850 million in a fucking day. He was making the entire net worth of LeBron James in a fucking 24-hour period. That's ridiculous.
I'm pissed.
Yeah, fuck him. We are going to kidnap your kid and hold him for ransom.
Again with the we thing, please.
What movie is that?
We is
He's
not.
like,
we're not
we
a part
fuck
of
you in the
league.
ass. He's like, what's all this fucking we shit?
I don't know.
What is that?
Chris?
Oh, man.
Mm.
Stand-up comedy. That's what it is. I got to look it up. It's the one. It's the fucking fat dude with the shirt off that goes to Russia. That's what it is.
Borat?
No, Borat's not fat. Anyway.
I don't know. Anyways, moving on.
Anyway.
Dan Gilbert's rich as fuck is pretty much what we're saying.
Yeah.
And the Cavs still suck
And
regardless.
we're really salty about it, but
You've made a believer out of me.
Jeez.
In actual sports news, Sam Darnold has been traded from the New York Jets to the Carolina Panthers
What a fuck up.
for a 2021 sixth round pick and a 2022 second and fourth round pick. Who do you guys think won that trade?
Oh, gee, let me think. The Jets.
Christopher?
So here's the thing. Like when that question was brought up on ESPN and it showed what the Jets got in return for it, I was like, the sad thing, I think Carolina won that trade.
Do you really?
I do, because those picks, time kind of stands still on those picks. It really just determines where they go from here. You know, a year from now, 2 years from now, whatever it is. Sam Darnold right now, even if he throws 15 touchdowns this year, he's still better than every one of those picks because they're
about average.
right. It's not setting the precedent high. I was saying if they gave up like a first round pick or something, I'm like, well, yeah, the Jets got
Yeah.
it for sure. Those are third round, I think a sixth round.
A second, a fourth, and a sixth.
Yeah, but aren't they different years too? There's like one that's this year.
Next year is the second and the fourth, and this year is the sixth. So this year they gave
not
nothing.
great.
They got nothing this
Yeah,
year.
That's not great.
So like, and Darnold, who I am not a fan of, I think he's one of the 10 worst quarterbacks starting in football easily. But I think the Panthers won the trade, but they didn't win much.
I think that the Jets won simply because they got a second round pick.
Mhm.
I think that Darnold was worth a third. You have to overpay just because of his age. So you wouldn't just get a third. That's what he's worth, but you would have got more. If it was a third, a fourth, and a sixth, I would have said Panthers definitely, just because of the upside of a guy that's only 23 years old.
Yeah.
Right.
People forget he's going into his fourth year. He's only 23.
Well, and look, like the Jets are bad and the Panthers are bad, but the Panthers are a better team than the Jets.
100%.
So there is a chance.
And he has way more weapons than he has ever had.
Mhm.
The best weapon he has ever had in New England or in New
York.
In New York, fucking alcohol's getting me. Was probably Robbie Anderson, who ironically he has again because Robbie Anderson is now a Carolina Panther, but he also now has DJ Moore,
Moore's a beast.
Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think that CMC is going to inflate his numbers dramatically
Mhm.
because all you have to do is dump it down to him, and
That's true.
he's a lock for at least 800 yards receiving.
That's true.
I don't think that he's going to be as good as his numbers will look because of that inflation.
I don't either.
Because I think that CMC is a lock for 804 passing wise and has upside to go even higher than that. DJ Moore is a lock for 800 yards as well.
Mhm.
He's should make 1,000 yards, but I don't know if that will happen.
And I think even with Breeze out, I don't think they're better than the Saints. So their ceiling is third.
I agree. They're saying they're shopping Teddy Bridgewater now. They just paid him not a huge amount of money, but it's like $20 million a year for 3 years.
Yeah.
Not a lot of it's guaranteed, so it's easy to move that contract, but I don't know. I think they should have traded up to try to get a quarterback if they were going to do something. They should have tried to go for that Mac Jones pick or, roll the dice on I can't think of his name right now. Too much alcohol.
Well,
I don't know.
Well, the Falcons honestly, I know they're a rival of the Saints. They have come out in recent days and said they're interested in trading their number 4 pick.
Yep.
So that's going to make things very interesting.
Yeah, Falcons are in like the worst possible position because they could really use that transitional guy after Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
Because that's the beauty of football. If you can get that perfect situation where you've got a great quarterback, a franchise quarterback that lasted for years, and then you just switch right over into him. Like Matt Ryan's got enough in it that he's average, he's not great anymore.
Yeah, it's not
he gets it done. He's a middle of the road guy. And then one more year, and then you bring in a Mac Jones after sitting for a year. You pull the Packers, Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers transition.
Yeah.
And they're just one pick away because those 3 guys are going to be gone before they get to them. It's going to go boom, 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 quarterback this year.
Yeah.
I think Darnold sucks personally. I'm glad that we did not take him because that was who it was between was Darnold and Baker at the time. I was a Baker man. I did not think that Darnold would be any good. I don't know if that's necessarily true or not. He did have Adam Gase coaching him, and nobody
didn't have a lot. Yeah.
Nobody has been good under Adam Gase, and he didn't have many weapons. But I think that 3 years is a big enough sample size. The guy's thrown for 3,000 yards once, and he barely hit that mark. 2,800 yards the other 2 years. His touchdown interception ratio is positive, but it's not high on either end. Like it's just meh.
He also throws, 40 plus times a game, so.
Yeah. And you can't get caught on the sideline saying I'm seeing ghosts during a game. Who do you guys think is the better Jets quarterback? Mark Sanchez or Sam Darnold?
So we're taking the whole picture.
Just the quarterback, not the team around them. Keep in mind that when Mark Sanchez went to the AFC Championship, he had an elite defense.
So are we cutting off Sanchez's career just at the Jets?
Yes, just at the Jets. Their careers in New York.
I think Sanchez is better.
I agree with Chris.
I do
Sanchez.
I think Sanchez is better.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, more humiliating, but he's better.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's more humiliating, man.
Dude, he had the ass play.
The-
He ran into his player's
Fumble is not as bad as people make it out to be. That dude gets a bad rep. That Jets team was very, very good. And even though I do think they didn't win a Super Bowl because of Mark Sanchez, I don't think that it was necessarily all on him either. He's not as bad as people remember him being.
They had a good defense.
We'll see what happens in Carolina. I do not think that Sam Darnold will be a lock for a starter. I think that that's what they're intending to do, but I think that they could take a late round QB and he will lose his spot by season start.
Better watch that contract then.
Yep. That's pretty much all I got for sports.
That's all you got?
Do we want to talk about that? I didn't really look at the other stuff as much.
2 quick things we'll touch on. One, March Madness just happened.
Yeah.
It was kind of an upset.
It was
Baylor
not kind of an upset. It was an ass-whooping upset.
Baylor beat the undefeated Gonzaga.
Gonzaga never took the lead in that game once.
Nope.
Chris took third in our fantasy football, March Madness League. And
it's my fantasy football friends who put on a March Madness bracket.
That's what I meant. Chris took third. Chris counted himself out.
Chris won $20.
1 week into the fucking thing, I'm riding third the whole fucking time, and I lose.
What'd you finish?
Like 5th. Both your teams took last. Jesse picks 2 brackets, and he took both last places.
Yeah, and let me tell
the fucking guy from Sports Illustrated.
I didn't watch any college ball.
Both last places. I've never done a bracket in my life.
Fuck you.
You almost made my point. Let me tell you how bad my first round was. I was below both of his brackets in the first round.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, anyways, Chris took third. Baylor with a huge upset over undefeated Gonzaga. That fucking shot. Was it the game before that shot?
Yeah, UCLA.
God,
that was an insane final 4 minutes.
That was a great game. Like overall, I watched that game and it was back and forth.
But usually, like those big March Madness moments are typically like round of 32, Sweet 16s. Once you get into like those final rounds, it's usually the best team's going to come out of those games. Most times, that was a true adrenaline-filled, blood pumping, amazing finish for a Final Four game.
Unreal, bro.
Absolutely. And I think like to a certain degree, Gonzaga probably spent their last ounce of gas on that semifinal game.
Yeah.
That like when they saw Baylor, that defense was too much for them.
And hats off to UCLA because were insane. That was the best Cinderella I think I've witnessed in my life.
They're definitely not number 11. That's for damn sure.
No, they were definitely seated incorrectly.
But this goes back to what we talked about a couple weeks ago with best team. Are they, you had an undefeated team who lost in the championship. First, they were 27-3 or
27-2.
27-2 or something. So, I thought Gonzaga was going to win. So March Madness happened. Wasn't on here, but just talking about that final shot reminded me. Have you seen that college girl player that they're comparing to like the next Steph Curry? She just fucking dropping dimes all over the court. You got to look her up. I don't know the name. I watched a video of her. This chick is insane.
Does she play in the
I
NCAA?
think it's college ball. I don't know for sure, but I was just watching clips of her. Any place on that court. Coverage, no coverage. She's just dropping them.
I can tell you she doesn't play for either Stanford or Arizona because I watched that national championship game.
Dirty blonde, kind of taller white chick.
They can't fucking shoot.
Yeah, no, she's good, man.
That is exactly where I was going.
She's real impressive. So anyways, it's off topic, but look her up if you're interested. I know nobody watches never mind.
Women's sports is what you were looking for.
Tiger Woods. So this is interesting. So they released
Tiger
to an extent the reasoning for his crash.
He was speeding.
Excessively speeding.
40 miles over the speed
87 and a 45 and didn't manipulate a turn properly, which is why he fucked up. But there's more to the story.
He hit that tree going 75 miles an hour.
Bro.
He is lucky to be alive.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
There's more to the story, though, that they're not telling us because they weren't going to release this at first. There's no reason you're not releasing just because he was speeding.
Well, then on top of that, they said that there's no criminal charges being brought. You ain't gonna give the dude a ticket.
Yeah, it's definitely reckless op at the very reckless op, failure to control your vehicle.
Yep.
I mean, there's definitely more destruction of property. There's multiple charges you could get against him that if me or you had this accident, we would 100% have got incited and whatever.
What do you think is the...
There's just more to it. You're not releasing the reasons for a crash just because the dude was speeding. People speed. It's not like it was, I mean, it was stupid and poor judgment on his part.
He didn't have any drugs or alcohol in his system. That's already been released.
I don't know. He's had DUI issues before, so I don't know if they're just hiding things. Look, it is what it is. But if it's just speeding, you come out and say he was speeding and that's why he got in an accident. They did not want to release the details. It's been about a week and then somehow this all just came out. I don't know why they decided to change their mind. But they had said off the rip they were not going to release the reasons why.
And that's why when you posted that on our little chat, I was like, well, that fucking lasted long.
That's what I'm saying. So I just lead you to believe there's something else going on that they're just going to say, yeah, he was speeding. That's why. And that way it's out in the open and people forget about it. But I think there's more.
The conspiracies and tinfoil hats of Ryan Weiss do not reflect the Made to Motivate podcast in any way.
We can all have a QAnon moment every once in a while.
Oh, God.
Anyhow, but that's really it for sports. Tiger Woods is a speeding wild man. Hopefully he recovers and ends up back on the golf course. Or if not, at least just walking and healthy.
That was not where I was expecting you to go there.
Hey, we'll move on from that one. Let's finish up with Let's Get Sports.
No, we just did sports.
It is July 20th, 1969.
Hollywood Social.
About to land on the moon.
Freedom itself was attacked this morning by a faceless coward, and freedom will be defended.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
That's the way the news goes.
Boy, oh boy. Let's Get Social is full of lots of stuff this week. Except for, okay, I thought I deleted my notes for a minute. The app just went blank. Lots of stuff. I mean, a lot of COVID stuff. Some things that we briefly talked about in sports that I wanted to kind of further touch on. So with Texas going full wild man on their stadium and mass gatherings and stuff, whatever. DeWine, Chris's Lord and Savior,
I ain't calling him daddy like everybody else in Ohio. That's for damn sure.
Has announced that he is lifting all restrictions on outdoor gatherings. There's no more, as long as you can still maintain some sort of, I didn't read the details, but
the mask and the 6 foot rule.
Yeah, if you can still maintain the ability to
3
be
feet
safe.
now based on the CDC guidelines.
Is that what it is? 3 feet? So, I mean, what do you guys think? Are we at a point where that you guys are comfortable and think that we're ready to have concerts and baseball games and things that are outside and be able to do that efficiently and safely?
I believe that the vaccine is available, and at this point, you are capable of getting it. And if you want to put yourself into a crowded situation after all of a year's worth of information and an available vaccine, and still put yourself in harm's way and choose to die, then go ahead and do it.
So are you saying that you're not for getting out and going to like an outdoor concert or going to a baseball game that is at max or greater capacity?
I feel confident because I am vaccinated. I would be happy to go to an Indians game and I would not worry about myself. Steph did not get vaccinated because of the pregnancy, because there's no clarification on whether or not it's safe for the baby. I would not feel confident with her doing that. I do not put myself in those situations because I can still carry the disease and give it to her. But as soon as she is vaccinated as well, once the baby is here, I'm out. We're going to live normal lives and everything is going to be back to normal regardless of crowd size. Which is like a year
from now. I mean, that's a long ways away. So who knows at that point where we'd be at anyways.
Yeah. Jesse kind of hit on a couple of my points at it too. So like, as far as we go, by the way, you're low battery. He kind of hit at my point a little bit, is that we're ready. Jesse and I have the vaccine. I think you're pretty close behind too. But as far as we're looking at this from the scope, we're looking at this from the whole picture here, everybody in Ohio. To that, I don't think so. At least not right now. Until we hit that 50% mark, I think that's probably when we should have started looking at it a little more. I know it sucks. Look, we all want to do our things. Dude, I got a concert for my mom that I bought for her birthday 2 years ago that has been delayed for 2 years since. And they are now saying October 1st is when we're going to go. I'll believe that when I see it. But look, we have to look out for the whole picture first. And I think where we're at right now with that 20% you said, where we're at with that, we're not ready. I mean, that's only 1/5.
Steadily increasing though.
Yeah. I mean, and this week's going to help a lot because we're opening up like the fairgrounds. We're opening a lot more of those mass vaccination sites. But as of right now, like that was Ryan's question. You said right now. I don't think we're ready right now.
As a whole, I would say no. For me personally, I'm ready to do whatever I want because I got the vaccine.
Sure. Yeah.
My thing is,
but yeah, that's a good point.
The vaccine is available, but doesn't mean you can get it. It's available to you based on whatever semantics, but getting it is a whole nother story. I think that like with the Texas thing, that they're going to see a mass increase. I mean, and granted, that's their decision. If you went there and you weren't vaccinated, and I feel like you should have that choice. I think part of that was my thought from the very beginning of this is, if you choose to go out knowing the risk, you choose to go out and know the risk. Now, if you get sick, then there's things you're going to need to do because of that. But if you go out and want to just go out on your own and aren't concerned about wearing a mask or whatever, you should be responsible for your own self and what comes of that because of your actions.
That's on you.
So, I mean, I think it's great that DeWine lifted some of these restrictions. I think a lot of places need it. Some of these venues that, just in sports alone, Blossom, amusement parks, things like that, zoos, they need to be able to get back up and running and have income streams. So I'm not against it. As far as the vaccine, I think that's a whole nother story, but I'm glad that that's available. To Jesse's point of he's vaccinated and can't get it. Wrong.
No, I didn't say I couldn't get it. I can get it.
Oh yeah, he can be
very unlikely that it will kill me though.
So what my thing was is I thought that we had said that you're 100% vaccinated, but
you're not 100%.
The percentage was that you couldn't, carry it. I thought when we talked about this, whatever.
I can carry it and give it to you at any time. Yeah. It could be in my system right now. I could infect you.
What was it that we talked about where we said the 95% meant something?
Let me explain this, okay?
There you go.
I'll try to make this, no offense, I'll try to make it as easy as possible.
I'm going to dumb it down for you, you stupid fuck.
So Jesse is vaccinated, okay? Right now, he is 95% protected. What that 5% alludes to is the fact that he could get it. He could be a carrier for it. Will he get sick? Will he die from it? Probably not.
Gotcha.
But as far as his carrier goes, he could take it home to Stephanie. He could take it home to, you know, any of his kids or whatever at his school.
One kid. Oh, okay. I was gonna say we have one kid coming. Everybody keeps saying twins. We're having one.
I was talking about Barberton
kids. I gotcha.
But so now, as far as, you know, people that don't have the vaccine goes, oh, they're fair game.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
it's they can do anything from get sick to die.
Ryan,
what's up?
So,
I'm not vaccinated.
But that's
Yeah,
all
I
it is,
know.
though. So basically, as far as getting sick goes,
Yeah.
that's kind of the 100%. But it's more like a, I don't want to say metaphor, but I can't think of a better word. That's just the way to put it. There's no real chance that Jesse and I are going to get sick,
it's
or
very,
that we're
very,
going to
very
die from
slim.
it. It's more that we could pick it up and we could give it to you, and you could get sick and you could die from it.
Which is why they tell us to still wear masks if we're not amongst other vaccinated people. Because if it's me and Chris hanging out, it doesn't matter. We can pass it back and forth all we want because it's not going to do anything to us. But we should wear a mask around you if we're going to go out in public, because if we're not going to be able to distance, we could still get you sick.
So I don't know. I don't know the semantics of the vaccine, but I do know that there is a story.
I just explained
all
that.
I know
That was the semantics.
is that there's lots of stories going around, and I know this is the stuff that drives these people that are anti-vax or against it, or saying, "Oh, fuck the government," and making us do it. Because the most recent one was the nurse. There's a nurse that vaccinated in like January.
Oh yeah.
She's now quarantined and locked and stuck in Mexico.
She's probably feeling fine.
Because she tested positive, and they will not allow her to leave. I'm assuming it's the U.S. won't allow her to come back in because she tested positive, so she can't travel.
She's a carrier. Yes, she's the 5% that carried it. But as far as how is she feeling, they won't allude to that in these cute little articles.
I honestly did not read in depth because I didn't really care.
You won't find it.
I just saw that it showed that she tested positive and cannot leave the country, and she had gotten vaccinated, and now they're kind of like, well, what the fuck?
Yeah, she's positive. Yeah.
And I found that interesting though, because of Jonathan Trudeau. I think that's how you say his name. I don't know. Prime Minister of Canada. And
Thoreau
and his take on quarantining, if you're positive and if you're negative, it's really interesting. If you test negative, he will allow you to leave, but you still have to quarantine for 14 days, which I think is weird.
That was kind of our thing, though. Like Ohio had that for the longest time. There was the 15% states, and North Carolina was one of them it was about a month. If you went to North Carolina, even if you didn't have COVID, you still had to come back and quarantine. That was but it wasn't forced. Like, that's the difference here. Justin's forcing it. Ours was, we suggest that you quarantine for 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's just odd. If you're testing negative, they're still requiring it. And then the wild side of it is if you test positive, they have government mandated facilities where you will be required to quarantine there.
Kids in cages.
Bro.
Yeah.
I'm just like, when is that happening here? Because if that's happening here, I ain't leaving, because I ain't getting stuck in no government mandated 2-week quarantine facility. It's not happening.
To be fair, it's a Canadian government facility, so it's probably like, would you like your breakfasts?
Bro, you still want to be locked up at a government facility for 2 weeks?
A Canadian one?
I don't know,
You
man.
know, what that tells me is that's a country, because looking at Canada's numbers right now, I mean, it's not even comparable. Like, they're doing far better than we are. That's a country that doesn't want to face a third wave, and they're going, we are desperate to do whatever we have to do to keep this out of here.
And I mean, I understand their take. To me, these are the stories that fuel the QAnons and the Reddits and all that shit. And they're like, well, when's it coming to the US? This is just the next step in. All right, look, they did the masks. We all buy into it. They got the vaccine passports. Now we got to carry around our papers and show that we're vaccinated, and we're all buying into it.
Don't say that, because then everybody's going to be like, it's like the Star of David with the Jews. You're going to come and get us.
That's exactly what people are saying, though.
Like Hitler.
They're saying the people that talk shit on that are now basically, we are. If we enact a passport, we're basically having to carry around our papers to be able to do anything.
It's not the same
It's
thing.
not the same as the
though.
Star of David. It's not the same as the Nazis or whatever. But it's a little extreme. I don't know how I feel about it.
I think, you know, I'm not.
Are you guys on board with having a vaccination passport that you have to carry around with you?
Well, I have the passport already, so
yeah, right. I mean, it's in my wallet. Here's the thing. the ideal thing is to force people to get the vaccine. That's the thing. Like any way we can get to 100% is great, but you can't force people. This isn't so much forcing. I know it's, you know, it's a loose definition as in, hey, you want to travel, you're going to have to get this vaccine, but it isn't a force. It's still a choice. Yeah. Forcing is you're getting it no matter what right now.
They're forcing
the only difference is your ass is
by
driving to Florida now instead of flying. Right?
Yeah.
They're forcing you into it by eliminating daily necessities. They're talking about grocery stores and stuff not allowing you to come in unless you have a vaccinated.
That would be a private company decision, though.
I'm not saying they don't not agreeing.
Yeah,
but they're forcing your hand. They're not forcing you to get it, but they're eliminating your ability to live your life by.
But in the same breath, though, if Giant Eagle, let's say Giant Eagle, all of a sudden decides they are going to require these passports, you don't have your vaccine yet. Let's say you decide, I'm not getting the vaccine.
Right.
You can still show up and order from your phone, have them bring it to your car. Like, you're not going to be stopped from living.
Will they offer the delivery service?
Somebody will DoorDash you stuff.
I would think so, because you're not going in the store. I would think so. And
you're in contact with that employee still.
That was my
pop your trunk.
Yeah,
open it
you
up
could
and
say
throw
something
it in.
like that.
I don't know.
And he was kind of talking of like where I was going with my next point is that no, I fucking forgot.
Sorry.
But
forcing your hand.
Well, it's gonna lead to more delivery services. It's gonna lead to even people who have the vaccine, like you'll pay me to go and do your shopping and stuff like that. That's how they get around that.
I won't.
So look, when it comes to anti-vaxxers, and I'm going to get real personal here, they will look for anything to remain stubborn.
Right.
So when it comes to this whole, we need, a vaccine to go in the store and everything, they'll go, well, I'll see your move and I'll raise you a move. I've got a friend who has the vaccine and I'll make sure he does my shopping for me. I'm still not getting your vaccine. It's just one move after one move. And whatever you feel like, it's fine. There's still a decision though. It's not a forcing.
Yeah.
That's why I look at it and I go, I don't fully support a needing a vaccine card to get in, but I understand it.
It just seems like it. Playing devil's advocate, I can understand the skeptics.
Mm-hmm.
The time frame it's taken, you're talking over a year later now that we're going to implement this, but we were able to fly for the last year, no problem.
Yeah.
I was able to sit directly next to a complete stranger for an entire flight, and it was no problem. But now I can't fly unless I have it. It just seems like.
I honestly think versus where you were at that time. Now I know it was like a month ago or a month and a half ago or whatever. Like, as you said, we're over a year past this now. People are like, let's get the fucking show on the road, dude. Like
right.
This is really getting old
but
fast.
That's where that kind of those mandates that they're putting in place now. It's like this should have happened then.
Absolutely.
But now that you're doing, it's like, why? It's like they take these slow progressions to see what they can get away with and see what we'll adhere to. And that's where the skeptic stuff comes into play. And that's where if you don't think for yourself and you read fucking.
If you don't read your history, it's going to repeat itself.
If you listen to Parler and QAnon, I can see where some of these people have why they believe the things that they believe.
An argument.
It's not that far fetched.
Which is why I don't like DeWine in the first place, because the man tiptoes more than a fucking kid going down in the middle of the night to get cookies.
100%.
So you can hate on DeWine, but this is a nation thing.
No, I know, but I'm just making a point though. So like, if you want to do, I was in agreement with you.
Yeah.
If you're going to make a law, fucking do it from the start. Do it opening day. Let's play ball from the first inning, not the fucking seventh and go, well, no, we need to do this and do this.
Yeah.
That's where I agreed with you.
Yeah. It's just the way they rolled it out. The way they rolled it out seems like they tested the waters. What are they going to get away with, and what are we going to conform to? And then we're going to keep pushing it and excelling it. Where does it end up?
I think it's going to keep excelling, because the thing is, there's going to come a point where, what if we're in this 2 years from now or 5 years from now, and we go, we still need to get 50% or we need to get 60%. We need to make these guys do it, whether they want to or not. It's,
I'm not anti-vax, but I am skeptical. And and that's anything though, medication. I don't take medicine. Like if I have a headache, I'm not taking stuff. I don't like putting that type of stuff in my body. I like to try and fight it off the best I can. With the vaccine, I'm skeptical just because of how quickly it moved along. I don't know I have got a lot of life to live, God willing, or hopefully I don't, whatever. We'll not go down that road, but hopefully I have got a lot of life to live. I don't know what's going to happen from this vaccine 20 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
Elderly people, they need it because they're at higher risk, and sadly they have less life to live. So they might not get to the point where those negative side effects come into play. But someone at my age, I don't know. And that worries me. Like, yeah, do I need it right now to survive? Probably not. Do I need to take it? if I get COVID, Jesse had it. If I get COVID, I'm probably going to be fine. So do I want to risk it by taking a vaccine where I don't know what could happen to me 20 years from now, 15 years from now,
but
where I could get through the next 6 months to maybe a year without it and be fine and not have to worry about it?
But here's my question to that, though. How many vaccines and medicines have we found that have effects that take that long that aren't due to prolonged use?
I don't know, but
very often, most of the time, you're getting these things where it's like, if you took Prilantiquix for prolonged use over time and got cervical cancer or some shit, like, it's usually people who took it every day because it was a prescribed medication that they didn't know that then got us sick. It's like, and it's shit that you wouldn't think of, like fucking
stuff that's completely irrelevant
like the
to what you're
sleep
taking
aid
for.
shit that makes people go crazy and everything. Like, it's not typically somebody who got a smallpox vaccine and then we find out later that it causes cancer that takes 20 years to develop. It's shit that you're putting into your body consistently, taking a pill every night to fall asleep, taking a pill every day for gas, taking a pill every day for arthritis, and then it ends up fucking you up in the long run.
I'm probably being overly cautious, but it just because of how quickly the process happened. There's some skepticism. That doesn't mean I'm not going to get it, but I'm not like,
I was a little nervous for sure.
I
was the first ones. So there's some nerves about doing it just because of that. But then again, like, fucking eat like shit and drink shit. So it's like, I'm putting that poison in my body.
As we drink screwball and tequila.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like hypocritical, but it's one of those things where you just look, I'll be the first to say, I don't really trust our government.
I don't either.
And in a whole, not vaccines, or I don't really trust a lot of the people in charge of stuff. And that doesn't mean that I believe that they would, I mean, maybe they really would. I don't know if I want to purposely poison us or put something in us that's going to harm us knowingly for a quick resolution. But I don't necessarily trust them. And this moved along so quickly. What, 8 months compared to a normal 3 to 5 year period or 2 to 5 year period?
They also did like 3 times or 4 times the amount of people as well, though.
And they were also testing this long before COVID-19 was even a thing. They were testing the next branch of COVID.
Do we know, are other countries utilizing our vaccine or do they have their own?
I think it depends on the country.
Like, is Europe using the Moderna or the Pfizer vaccine, or did they develop their own? Because here's the thing. If this came from Europe, honestly, I probably would have taken it already, because you look at
fucking commie.
You look at, listen, have you ever done the side-by-side comparisons of like US food to European food?
Dude, I've done side-by-sides for all types of shit. You know how much our baby mortality is compared to, that's something I've learned since pregnancy days.
What's that?
We have so many more dead babies or mothers giving birth than like any other modern country. Like,
thank you.
Like astronomically more.
So you're proving my point. I've read and done several.
We also have more
research.
That is true. Per capita, though. Per capita, not just totals.
On, let's just say, who makes ketchup?
Heinz.
Heinz ketchup, US brand. Heinz ketchup, European brand. And you look at the ingredients,
tons of sugar,
and it's fucking awful.
Yeah.
European is tomato paste and whatever. It's 4 ingredients, and they're all things you know. And you look at the US one, and it's 30 ingredients, and it's 35 letters each thing. You have no clue, and it's consistent.
Now, to be fair,
our FDA allows so much shit just to go through because it fuels the fucking big corporations that run everything. And we just buy into it, that we eat it, and we don't think anything of it.
On the same, hold on a second.
Yeah.
On the same token, let's be honest though, as far as your mentality goes with everything you just explained, you're the minority in that picture that won't get the vaccine. And what I'll say is, if you weren't the minority, people of that brand wouldn't have a problem wearing masks. They wouldn't get the vaccine, but they wouldn't have a problem wearing masks.
Yeah.
And that's the majority with a lot of it. It's that they don't like their hand forced. That's the problem. Yeah. So when somebody tells them to wear a mask and they freak out, that's the problem. It's not the vaccine. Don't tell me that certain people don't trust the vaccine. You don't. I fully agree. That's probably the case. But don't tell me that every single person goes, well, I don't trust our government and all this. Yeah. It's because you don't like your hand being forced. You don't like being told what to do. It's a macho thing. I understand that deep down. Okay.
Well, and
just be honest.
To bounce off of that point, like if the vast majority of people were in your position where they said, I don't really trust this, but I'm going to wear my mask, we wouldn't be in this position anyways, because in 2 weeks we would have all fucking quarantined like 100%. We were supposed to with our masks, and it wouldn't have been an issue.
Oh, no, I absolutely agree that I'm in the minority, because I think for myself, I have no issue wearing the mask. if the vaccine was forced, I mean, obviously I'm going to take it. I don't like the idea of that. Putting something into my body forcibly. I think it kind of is different than the mask. I'll wear the mask. It's doesn't have potential to create any harm to me. Whereas the vaccine could, and forcing someone to do something that could create harm to them, I think crosses that line.
Yeah.
But again, if this was developed in Europe, I honestly probably would have less skeptics because I truly believe that our higher ups in our corporate greed and some of the people that run these organizations don't give a shit what happens to us if it fills their pocket with money, and the government can sell it off and vaccinate us all.
I'll say this, and I know the excuse is going to be, well, it's a branch of a branch of a branch, but I trust scientists. I don't trust politicians.
I absolutely trust scientists, but I don't know. But it's like, who do we know is actually pulling the strings?
Right.
You know, it's like, I really trusted Amy Action, and look what happened. You know, I really liked the way that she was running things, and it was scientific, and that's what she was bringing to the table. And then everyone fucking destroyed her and got her fired.
Oh,
and,
yeah. That was a state. That was a fucking state that was rebelling against her.
Yeah.
This leads to more of who we're talking about, though, that clientele. And to Jesse's point, if we had just worn our fucking masks in 2 weeks, we would have had none of this problem in the first place.
Should have locked down hardcore for 2 or 3 weeks.
That's what I said too.
Done.
For even
let
1
it
month,
all die out.
Even a month. Just take a month and say, hey, everybody's on vacation. I know we're going to have stimulus checks. We're going to have everything. You're going to be fine.
Bro.
You're going to go back to work in a month.
They could have shut down for a month, gave everybody like $5,000.
Shut the borders down.
That's what they should have done. They should have said, you have 1 month to get all the supplies that you need, get any food that you need. Don't buy in excess. This is the limit on whatever at the grocery stores. Regulate it that way. Everybody gets $5,000. That's a perfect number. And then say, you'll be back in work in a week, in a month. And everybody stays home. Everybody gets, whatever. You sit there, you watch your TV, you do whatever, and then you're gone.
Yeah.
And I think borders was a big thing too. They should have shut down international travel when that started too.
Yeah. It's definitely, it would have been a better solution than now going over a year and a half into it, and we're still doing it. To which point, Carnival Cruise Lines has had it. They're over it, and they are threatening to eliminate all U.S. ports and take their business elsewhere because they feel that we're raising or lifting restrictions on other things, but still not. And they just got their travel date pushed back again. And the president or whatever, CEO, said they don't want to, but they feel that their hand is being forced, that they cannot continue to delay business. And they've got 12 or 13 main hubs within the U.S. that they are discussing polling.
Could they survive without that income?
I think it would force you to like have to travel. Okay, you'd have to fly to like Mexico to get on the cruise rather than flying to Florida or something.
No, I'm saying them, the cruise ship. Would they be willing to cut profits and go like, well, we're cutting America out of the scenario?
I mean, I don't think it wouldn't be Americans could no longer cruise. They just wouldn't be housed here. So like if I wanted to go on a cruise with Carnival, maybe the closest port would be I'd have to fly to Cozumel or Mexico.
Jesus, and would you do that?
I mean, there's a lot of cruises that leave from there anyways. I wouldn't be ideal, but I guess they're at the point where it's now like zero money, or we move ports and at least can start running our business again. It's a tough call. That's a lot of places that some businesses are in now, though. As these restrictions continue to happen, what do you do? Your hand is forced, and what do you do to survive? It would suck. I mean, I would hate to see it because I'd like to go on a cruise sometime in the near future.
It's one of those where I'm like, I almost call their bluff, and I'm like, I want to see if they really do it. If they really do it, then it is a moral thing, and they go, profits aren't important to us. We're tired of this shit. Like, then I will admire. I will stand up and clap for them. If they don't do it, they're full of shit.
Well, what these ships have been doing is they're all at sea. Fully staffed. So they're like, I mean, they're still keeping the ships up and running, and the employees and stuff are still on the ships, and they all sit out in the water, like corralled together. And that's it. I follow the captain of a ship on TikTok, and she posts consistent videos of them still maintaining operation. They're still getting paid. And they're sitting there doing nothing.
That reminds me, on that note, I watched a documentary this week. HBO had it. It's called The Last Cruise. Did you see it?
Dude, I did watch it on a whim. And what the fuck?
I
didn't know.
It was only 40 minutes. I kind of wish it was a little longer, but like it's kind of crazy how that unfolds in real time. And to your credit, everything you said about there's paid, crewmen, there's paid everything that are basically on pause right now.
Right.
That's a a nonstop business that goes around the world, around the clock, 24/7, and to put that on halt, it puts a lot of people's lives in danger. I totally understand that.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that was and I don't think I remember that story in real time when it happened,
Mm-hmm.
but watching that documentary and how those people were impacted, not only as customers, you know, on the cruise ship on vacation, but the workers
Yeah.
and everything that they went through and like how they had to try and adapt. And they kind of were just like, whatever, you're still going to do your job. We're just going to focus on the people and protect them. And they were all locked in those staterooms for almost, some of them 33 days, 34 days.
Yeah. And like,
Bro.
you're still in contact. That's when they thought asymptomatic people couldn't spread it.
Yeah.
And that, like, you know, so you have workers who are sick, technically have it, who are spreading it to other people just because they're not sick, you know.
Wild,
they're able to work.
Yeah, that story was pretty crazy. I would have liked it to be longer,
Yeah.
But an interesting watch nonetheless.
For sure.
Another interesting government, you know, talking about government fuck ups and on not trusting your government. Chile had quite the fuck up on their part. They supply, I don't know if it's public birth control in Chile.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But they supplied faulty birth control, and now there's a shit ton of women that are getting pregnant because they were taking birth control and the pills that they provided were, I don't know, faulty or whatever.
Yeah.
What the fuck do you do?
Sue.
Yeah.
For one.
I mean, come on. Here's my thing, and this is going to be a hot topic for a lot of people, I'm sure, but you know, pro-life, pro-choice, whatever you might be, this isn't a situation where you were irresponsible or, you know, God forbid you were raped or something, where this was caused either by your own action, not saying rape, that kind of falls on the
It's
side.
against your will though.
Yeah. That rape falls kind of into the other side of this argument. You know, you just were irresponsible. You didn't wear a condom or something, and you got pregnant. I think at that point you're at fault. You didn't.
Oh yeah.
You didn't take the proper precautions to prevent it from happening.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, it falls on the other side, you know, a rape or something where you didn't choose. These women obviously were taking birth control because they didn't want to have a child, and now they're pregnant because of a fuck up by their government or whatever. What do you do? I mean, do all these women abort these children? Do you have them and put them up for adoption? I mean, it's a lot of people. I think it's awful.
I think that is the case. You know, I think, you know, not everybody believes in abortion. So obviously some of them will probably have the kid, put it up for adoption because they're not ready to be a parent or just choose not to be.
Right.
Either way, that's fine. But like, I'm not going to fault anybody on one decision or the other. If that were me in that predicament, I think I would talk with my wife, and, you know, it's her body too. So we got to discuss this as one.
Yep.
I'm someone who doesn't want to have kids. So that's the only avenue that I would say no to.
Right.
Whatever she wants to do from there, I'm on board with.
I don't know if I would be majority, minority, what it is. I don't know where I fall pro-choice or pro-life, because what I believe in is different based on the situation. I truly believe that a baby should have the right to be born and to live. And I think that if you are just irresponsible and you get pregnant because of that you should have to have that kid. Now, granted, I think anyone should have the right. I do believe you should have the right to do what you want, but there's things available to you to prevent you from having a child. And if you're just irresponsible enough that you get pregnant, then you know what? Have the kid. And if you don't want it, put it up for adoption.
I see what you're saying.
Because at that point, you know the possibilities of the outcome of your actions, and you're still choosing for whatever reason to go through with it. Okay, maybe you don't want to have a kid. Cool. Have the kid, put it up for adoption.
Yeah.
Now, when you're put in a position where you had no choice, I think you should have the choice on what is done to your body because that choice was taken away from you.
Yeah.
If you are raped, I don't think that you should have to suffer through a pregnancy because of that and have a kid and be reminded of that, of what happened to you.
Absolutely not.
Do I think that if you could get through it, you should have the kid? Yes. But I truly believe in that sort of situation that you should have the ability to abort that child because it wasn't due to lack of responsibility or a choice that you made. You were put in that position against your free will.
Mhm.
And I think that's where I teeter on the pro-life or pro-choice thing, because I don't think you should have to go through that. It does a lot to your body. And I don't think that you should have to. Here's the thing. That transforms you.
Yeah.
Even if you have that kid and put it up for adoption, you're going to live with the physical and mental scars forever. You're going to, when you look in the mirror and see the stretch marks and things that happen to your body from having that kid, you're going to constantly be reminded of why, and I don't necessarily think you should have to live through that.
That's why when you use the word rape, to me, I'm like, honestly, that's kind of like an appropriate term for this, because while it's not what you would, compared to like sexual rape, it is forced against your will, and that's someone's beliefs. If somebody has made the choice to say they don't want to have kids like myself, then that is being forced against their will by someone else or a higher power, like that's,
I mean, these
they're going to get in serious trouble for that, man.
These women are proactively taking a substance to prevent them from having a child. I don't think that they should be forced to have that child. And I don't know what Chile's laws are on pro-life or pro-choice or whatever, but that's something I always struggle with because that's one of those topics that come into play especially with politics and things. And I'm not a firm believer in one or the other. I think it's a matter of circumstance. And I don't think it would be right for me to say that every woman should have to have a child if they're pregnant, when you've gone through certain things that happen to you and you should be able to abort it. I definitely think it needs to be done within a time frame. I know there's like the heartbeat bill and stuff like that, but like if you were raped and you're not going to have that kid, then I mean, just make it a thing right away. As quickly as possible. You can do it. Don't wait 7 months into the pregnancy, 6 months into whatever. I don't even know if there's a limit on how long it can be before you do it.
I don't know.
But do it, as soon as possible, obviously, to make sure it's done before this child is really developed or whatever. But anyways, big fuck up on Chili's part. At the very least.
I would say there's definitely going to be some big legal ramifications of this. Because I guess it does kind of inspire me to, like you said, look into Chile's kind of laws on that whole thing, as far as abortions, how they feel about stuff like that. I hate to use this term, but I would hate to know that somebody got forced into having a kid against their will, against their beliefs, and because of the geography, they have to keep it.
Could you imagine if the Chile government or the law in Chile is pro-life and they don't allow abortions, and these women got pregnant because of them?
Or adoptions, like they don't allow.
Jesus, man, that'd be awful. But I thought that was when I read that article, I was just like, what the fuck? Like how I'd be pissed.
Wasn't it 2 places you said Chile? Wasn't there another one though too that this happened in?
Not that I'm aware of.
Oh, I thought there was 2 in that story.
There might have been something else, but I just read basically the headline, and it was just, I was kind of just like one of those moments where I was just like, what? I had to like reread it. I'm like, I read like just the main synopsis of it, what happened, but craziness.
To your argument, if that doesn't restore your faith in pills and medicine, I don't know what will.
snip it off. Final topics. These 2 go hand in hand. So obviously we've recently discussed Derek Chauvin and George Floyd case, and it's continuing to evolve week over week. And kind of a local story in comparison to the George Floyd story, and right and wrong, and how George Floyd's situation could have changed so dynamically had things been handled differently. So in Akron, an Akron police officer recently, he resigned, was forcibly resigned, quit, fired, whatever, doesn't matter. The point of the story is that there was an officer involved in actions that became under investigation due to a complaint in the tactics he used, the force that he used in a what do you call that? Seizing of someone or whatever. So it became under investigation. Akron Police Department put him on leave of absence. They looked into the case, and then it was recently just announced that he resigned or was fired, whatever might be the term. But this is how it should be handled. They investigated it. They took him off the force while it was investigated. They investigated the claim. They determined that what he did was excessive use of force or was against police training, and he's no longer an officer.
Imagine that.
Imagine if Derek Chauvin's 13, 14, 15 cases and complaints of excessive force were investigated properly and he was taken off the force.
I'll tell you one
George
thing.
Floyd would still be here.
I'll tell you one thing that would have happened. Yeah, we wouldn't be in this case right now. This would totally be, it wouldn't be a thing.
Moot point.
Yeah.
It wouldn't matter.
And how many other lives you probably would have saved along the way too.
I don't understand. And to that point, I think watching the little bit of the case, here and there, blips of it, I don't think the fucker's got a chance.
Chauvin.
I mean, Chauvin doesn't have a chance. The people that are coming to testimony, people coming out and saying, you know what, this was excessive use of force. This didn't follow policy. I mean, you got EMTs, you had like the police chief, you've got, the standby first person witnesses. He's fucked.
Yeah, I think if America screws this one up, man,
Bro,
there's going to be some big consequences that come from it. I think it's one of those cases where those jurors have to look at it and they go, look, even if we don't have the evidence, like we have his superiors and we have his, his peers at his job that are speaking against him. We need to do the right thing.
What defense can you possibly build against what happened? I mean, the only thing that they have that they could possibly try and use.
Did you hear?
I was just going to say, depending upon autopsy, is just that he didn't die because of him. That's the only thing I could imagine that they attempt to use in Derek's defense.
So today's court, they were basically, now they're playing the narrative that, well, now we have to see what kind of impact that a big crowd around the situation has on an officer who's, basically being held to maintain justice at all times. I'm like, look, you're a cop, man. Everything else, even in a hostile environment, everything else is muted out. It is you and it is him. It is one-on-one. Okay.
Even with that argument, he had this became a pride thing.
Yeah.
He had multiple times where he could have said, you know what, you're right. Let me get up. Even being watched.
Mm-hmm.
You had the other officers there. You had the EMS that came in and tried to provide self-reviving, care to him, and they wouldn't let them.
Yeah.
There was opportunity, even being watched. I understand you're under pressure. It's part of the job, though.
They are grasping,
you can't do it. If you cannot perform the duties of your job, you shouldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Even more so when you're in a position of power where you can have the ability to take someone's life because of your job.
Yeah.
Like you said, they're grasping for straws at this point.
And that's another bad sign when it comes to like legality cases. So like, whenever you see a narrative change mid court case, like that's not good, dude. That's like saying, you were explaining one reason why something happened, then you go, but then there's this also, I mean, think about this.
I don't know what they're going to do. They're saying second degree murder.
Mm-hmm. That looks like
at minimum, it would go to manslaughter if they try and say he didn't die. If his death was because of some of his actions, but he didn't cause the actual death, he'll get manslaughter. But they can't fuck this up. The dude has got to do time. He needs to be found guilty of murder. I don't know what other charges they're charging him with, but I mean, ultimately the one that matters and most important is the murder of George Floyd. If he's found guilty, what type of situation do they put him in? So do they put him in like
maximum
isolated confinement? I mean, he can't be in general pop.
Maximum. Yeah. It would be
not that I fucking care, but like if he gets his ass beat in jail, good. But that there's no way that they're gonna put him in general population.
For one, he's a cop.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's enough.
That's enough by itself. For two, he's a murderer on top of that. So it's a no-no. It's as far as I'm concerned, throw him in general because look, you did the crime, you deserve to do the time on top of it.
Yeah.
But that's not the reality of the situation.
Yeah. He doesn't deserve any special treatment by any means. I think I know they do it. I mean, here's the thing. Even though you did the crime, you're supposed to be put into jail and be able to serve your time unharmed, whatever. And by being a cop, that wouldn't happen if they just put him in a general
and that's
cell. But I'm curious to see where he goes and what happens because he wouldn't last.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like you said, if he was a cop and went to jail for tax evasion, he's fucked.
Mm-hmm.
But to go to jail as a cop and go to jail under the circumstances of what he did, the dude's not lasting a day.
That's why. So like, I'm curious to know your thoughts on this. That's why being a cop, there's certain privileges you have that escapes you from that void of reality. So like when you look at it, say, you know, you have person A, and person A is a child molester. Okay. And he goes to jail, you know, he raped and murdered a kid, we'll say. Okay. And then goes to jail. Do they give him special consideration? They go, well, he's a rapist though, and he's a child molester. So, you know, maybe we should put him in maximum, you know, and all that. So why? What's the difference? He committed a crime. Derek Chauvin did.
There isn't.
Doesn't matter if he's a fucking cop. Yeah. He committed a crime. He's no longer a cop.
It's just like if it's a celebrity, you're most likely not going to general pop.
Privilege.
You have privilege. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you're a criminal. At the end of the day, the being a convicted criminal strips you of any other title you had.
Yeah.
And you should have to serve the sentence just like any other citizen would. You're no longer a cop. You are now a felon or a murderer.
Yep.
And that means you should go and rot in a cell just the same anybody else would.
Give him the mom speech. You know? Oh, sweetie, but you did do it. I mean,
yeah.
You know.
So, but here's at the end of the day, glad to see progression. Glad to see that it seems like they are building a pretty solid case against him. And the witnesses that are coming to stand and talk about the situation. So I don't know how long they're anticipating it to go on for, but I'm hoping that we have a resolution soon. And
I heard by next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm hearing arguments are going to wrap up next week.
Wow.
You know, I got to say, like, throughout this whole case, the drug alibi was the one thing that worried me about everything. Cause I'm like, they're going to look for the drugs impacted his, you know, his death and all that. And that's going to get this guy off. There's always that one clever insert in all of these cases. That's like, well, there's the shred of doubt right there.
That's where I was getting at with like the autopsy results. Cause the autopsy results have bounced back and forth. Initially there was no drugs in his system. Then there was drugs in his system. And it's like, they need to have performed another autopsy by a completely unbiased source. I'd honestly say 2 completely different sources, unknowingly not share any of the results until they're completely done and compare the 2 because they bounce back and forth. And that's what they're going to try and use, that he had drugs in his system, whatever. Here's the deal. I don't care how good a shape you are in, how big you are. You push someone chest down on a hard surface for a prolonged period of time, you are going to suffocate. Your body cannot continue to breathe sufficiently. You're eventually going to expire. It's going to happen. You lay on the ground on your chest, even with nobody on your back, and over time, it's going to become harder to breathe. Now you've got a grown ass man kneeling on you. I don't even care if it's the neck. You could kneel on my lower back and I'm going to stop being able to breathe after so long.
Well, that's why they say when you stand up straight, like in a straight position, after a while, your muscles will tense up. And that's what happens. It's just with this case, they tense up a lot faster because you have that weight on top
that
of them.
pressure on you, pushing down on you.
Yeah.
It's awful. I'm ready to see sentencing and for this case to close and the family to have at least some sense of closure.
Sure.
Money is irrelevant. You know, they got the settlement from the city, which is more money than they'll ever need. And that doesn't matter because it will never bring him back. It won't change the fact that he was murdered. But they'll at least know that he was found guilty.
It wasn't for nothing.
And it wasn't. Yeah. And that hopefully this will be the start of change and people realizing that, look, they're not invisible. As a police officer, they're not invisible and they still need to uphold the law, but they need to do it properly. And that you can't get away with it.
And to tie your previous story together, I don't get to say this too often, but I'm proud of our Akron police officers for taking a stand on that one.
Absolutely. Because you know what we talked about last year when we first talked about George Floyd was what changes can we make?
Yeah.
And we said, you know, contacting your local institution or your local police departments, changing their trainings or holding their officers accountable. And what did they do? They did. And that's, you know, and there's consequences to your actions.
Yep.
So yes, bravo to the Akron Police Department for actually following through and holding them accountable and taking him out of, I don't know what that means as far as getting a job at another police department. I don't know how that works. But all I know is right now he's not serving Akron and they did the right thing. And they sent the message that, look, this behavior isn't okay. And you're not going to continue to be employed by us if you do it. Yeah. And I think that sends a very important message. So making progress. We still got a lot of places to go. You know, we got Ahmaud Arbery where we still haven't gotten any conclusion or anything on that yet. It seems things have, COVID probably played a big part of it, but we haven't had any really big, for the most part, cases or things like this happening. So maybe we're on a positive path. But big news there. That's it, I think. I don't think we had anything else for either segment.
Okay.
I think pretty well-rounded show. Jesse took off a little bit early, so it's just me and Christopher hanging out.
I did have a question, but I wasn't going to throw it in.
Go ahead.
Money.
Oh yeah, do it.
I had
we
one
can
this
do it
week.
Together.
Okay. It'll probably be pretty quick. So I saw a job advertisement in the paper, and this one's always on there. Like when I was unemployed, it was still in there. It's a crime scene cleanup. How much an hour would they have to pay you to be a crime scene cleanup and go to work every day? Like, I don't want to say looking forward to it, but competent that you're getting up every day and you're like, well, I got a job to do.
Scrubbing the blood. And,
let's go.
Like the body's gone, but I got to go in and like scrub the blood and clean up the guts and all that.
Yeah.
I would do it. I mean, I would do the job. It'd have to be a pretty substantial set. Is it daily? Like, is this a 40-hour-a-week job?
Yeah, the way they pay is, so sometimes a job, the way it was explained to me is a job will start off, we'll pay you $25 an hour, we'll say, okay?
Yeah.
And the pay is really good for this.
Yeah.
But what happens is sometimes cleanup lasts more than your typical hour or 2 hours or whatever.
Yeah.
But as it goes on, we're paying you for each hour, like 25 for 24 hours.
So here's the deal, and this is just, because obviously this is all just make believe.
Yeah.
If you told me that I had to do this job and it was 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, regular hours, and I wasn't doing it at midnight and weekends, like I was on call all the time, $250,000 a year.
$250,000 a year.
Yeah.
I wonder what that equates to if we're talking like say $25 an hour, because I think that's what the advertisement was for.
25 an hour, probably 50-ish thousand a year.
I thought about that and I was like, the thing that would do it for me is just kid cleanup. Like, I mean, granted the body's gone,
52,000,
but you're accessible to that information.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened there.
I would have to go in that I'm just going in and cleaning.
Yeah.
I don't want to know. I wouldn't want to know about what happened. I would be in a proper hazmat suit or whatever, I ain't smelling the smells. I'd see it, but I wouldn't. The smells is the worst part.
Yeah.
Blood doesn't really bother me. But like smelling it would be the awful part. But there's not really many jobs that I would do if it was like an on-call or like nights and weekends, all in hours of the day. If it's just like, hey, there was a murder down the street last night at midnight, got to show up to work tomorrow at 9 a.m. and go clean it up. Yeah, I'd do it for.
But because it's on call,
I wouldn't want it to be like any time, like you got to do it right away for any sort of reason, just because you got to live your life. But yeah, I'd say I would do it for like $250,000. Would you do it? Is it a job you could do?
I think we almost had this topic one time for a show. I think it's one of those jobs they just would not take.
Couldn't do regardless.
Yeah, I don't think so, because cleanup is one thing. I've been a janitor before in my one of my previous jobs, but like, dude, you're talking crime scenes, you're talking brains, you're talking guts, you're talking all kinds of shit. And if that shit doesn't come out blood, if you don't scrub it right away, like it stains.
Yeah.
So you're going to be there for a while and you're going to have to think about the psychological duress too, on top of that, of what you're seeing.
Yeah. it would have to be a mental tune out, like headphones on, listen to some music. And again, I would have to have some sort of mat, like, or I couldn't smell it. Horror stuff with blood, that kind of thing doesn't bother me, but like the smell, like cleaning up like dog puke, it's just the smell.
Mm-hmm.
Like if one of the dogs pukes and I gotta clean it up, that's what bothers me. It's not the substance itself, the way it smells. Even like cleaning up dog shit, it's the way it smells that gets to you, inside of you. So it's not a job I would love, but I would do it for the right amount of money for sure.
We need to like find somebody who does that job and like get them on.
Crime scene investigator or something even would be super cool.
Yeah.
I would love to have something like that on. So it's a good question. We'll have to ask Jesse. Yeah. He'll do it for like $25 an hour, probably, honestly.
Does it got benefits?
Right. Yeah, honestly. You don't care. So all right, y'all. That's the show. Me and Chris are gonna sign off and catch you on the next one.
Ada.
Thanks for tuning in, y'all. That is Made to Motivate podcast. Make sure you tune into the show every week. Like, share, subscribe, hit the bell on YouTube so you know when the new videos launch. And check out our pages individually if you can. We appreciate the support. At Jesse Unk SI on Twitter. Chris the Film Freak Kessinger. Check out the Film Freak Review page on Facebook. And I am Ryan Weiss. You can check out rockeverywhereinc.etsy.com to follow my art and apparel page. We appreciate the support. And, of course, at Made to Motivate podcast on all social media sites. Thanks again, and we'll check you next week.